everybody, Joleen Lunzer!
1, 2, 3, 4.
We're back. Welcome to the Big Brother Breakdown with Joleen. Welcome to the BB Breakdown with Joleen. That's me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Brother Breakdown with Joleen. That's me. I break down all things Big Brother Season 24. We just wrapped it up. I'm sorry, I'm out of breath. I ran to the AC unit. Xchel's going to kill me, but I bumped it down a couple notches because I was sweating, and I had to find my cat ears because it's spooky season. So happy day to everyone joining tonight. We are going to bring my husband back in, Xchel Hernandez, and he is our casual. So all season long, if you've been following along with my channel, you have seen my husband appear usually once a week. I mean, his work schedule is crazy, but when he can, he comes up and he gives us the casual perspective. That means he only watches the episodes. He did not watch live feeds. He did not get spoilers, except for the couple times I just couldn't hold it in. So tonight, I want you guys to put things in the chat and that maybe you want Xchel's or remind me of things we should tell Xchel that only were shown on the feeds as we're breaking down and getting his opinion on the recap. So if you want a full recap on what I think of the finale, I have that video and you can find that under my videos. I have that video under my videos. Weird. Isn't that crazy how that works? But first, if you want to support the channel, Super Chat's a great way to do it while we're live. We'll read it, answer any questions you have. Fun way to support the channel. Otherwise, we do have a membership on YouTube, and we also have some tiers on Patreon for anyone who wants to join the Lean team. But likes are appreciated if you're like, no, girl, I'm not giving you my money. Likes are appreciated, and also subscribing because we have a lot of fun stuff coming up. I do have a Big Brother video I'm working on. Like, I've been stalking these people post-season because I love post-season. I love it. I don't care. There's a point where I get sick of it. But right now we're newly into post-season, so I have been stalking. And I think it's more like investigative journalism. I'm using my degree. That's what I tell myself when I'm looking at 24-year-olds' Instagram accounts. So I don't know. That's what we're doing. All right. So without further ado, we did get a super chat right off the top, and I wanted to pin it, and it wouldn't let me. But thank you so much for the super chat. I believe it was Miss LeBear, something. I apologize, mods, if you see it. Let me know. But let us know your thoughts, hopes, dreams, and opinions. Without further ado, my husband, Xchel Hernandez.
Hi,
Xchel,
everybody.
you're back, baby.
Yay.
How are you? You're coming off of like a crazy work schedule, so you weren't able to join us for the final week of Big Brother because you were working like crazy 12-hour here, hospital man.
Yeah, I was tired of it by the end of it, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And now you have a little bit of time off, and your first night off, what do you get to do?
More work.
Talk about Big Brother, your favorite. My husband loves it. So everybody say hi to Xchel in the chat. Let's show him some love in the club. When Taylor's co-hosting and it's a bunch of Gen Zs talking, oh no. You know, some of the Twitter spaces, Xchel, I don't know if you've noticed this, they have these new Twitter spaces, and they're great because anyone can have a voice, and I love that. But sometimes it turns into like people just screaming over each other, talking over each other. Or like,
I think it's good when you have someone that you want to see, kind of like going to a convention and you're there to see a single person, because then everyone respectfully like listens to that person. Where I think if you invite like people on the same level of like, let's have a discussion about politics, it's just going to become a screaming match in the end, you know?
oh
There's
yeah,
no
I
real,
joined.
like civility, or like there's no real, I shouldn't say civility, but there's no real like rules when you're in a room of like people you find your equals, you know, compared to like someone like everyone is excited to hear from.
There's rules to the shit. And I joined a Twitter space right after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. And I liked that Twitter space. They organized it very well, but there were thousands on it. And there was a couple trolls that popped in. But overall, I think Twitter spaces I've never hosted one. Maybe I'll try sometime. But I've joined some good ones, and I've joined some ones like were mentioned in the chat. So there you go. There you go. All right. Jamie wants to know, Xchel. Let's get Xchel close to this PS5. All right, you guys.
We need 2,000 likes and 50,000 more subscribers, guys.
We are on our way to 30K subscribers. We're like 26,500, I think.
Whoa, we're so close.
Is that what we're at?
Yeah.
I want to say 27,000, but I don't think we're at 27,000. But that's like, I never thought I'd be that close to 30,000, and that's our goal for 2022. All right. So, Xchel, now we can let all the secrets out. We can get all your opinions. You just watched the finale tonight. What did you think? Were you surprised by the final three? Were you surprised by Monty's decision to bring Taylor? Just tell us your thoughts, and I'll interject if I have a question.
Okay. I liked the first competition, the Wiener Roasty. I liked that one. I thought that was really good. I thought it was like of the theme. I think they did very well on the themes all year. And I really enjoyed seeing what they did each week, specifically on the theme of like this outdoor festival, or festivals, I should say. It was really cool. My favorite thing of the season was the double head of household competition where they split the room. Because then that really put a kink in everybody's game, and everyone had to scramble, and that's like what you want to see as a television watcher. As far as final three, I was really hoping Taylor would win a competition, but she didn't, which kind of stinks because I think it would have made her story greater than it already is. But she was so close, but Monty beat her out in the names of the competition. So, I mean, I think that was the most exciting part of the season, is there was multiple vetoes and HOHs, sorry.
Xchel, just because of that, now we'll have to hear from superfan extraordinaire, Jerry O'Connell, with the H of H.
It was really fun to see him win H of H, and sort of get his, to hear he's in it.
Can you believe, Xchel, did you ever think you would know more than superfan Jerry O'Connell does about Big Brother?
I think that's unfair, because I think when you marry someone who watches it as much, you basically accumulate their knowledge, especially when, that's what they talk about all the time. And you're just like, oh, okay.
Me talking about Big Brother all the time? Oh my God.
That or edit videos, one or the other.
Yes, I'm always, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm putting something together. I'm putting a video together. He's like, okay, cool. I do like your name, Xchel, with BB done. Where will Facebook moms go? So I need to know, since you are our Facebook casual expert.
I'm going to sneeze. I'm sorry. Will you by yourself?
Ahead. Bless you. Bless Xchel already. Bless you. I was going to say my child. You're not my child. You are my husband. Bless you, my child, husband. That didn't sound right. That did not sound right. He's only 4 years younger than me. Okay,
yeah,
and we're back.
Gross. You don't want to have that type of relationship with your child.
Catholicism that was ingrained in me at a young age that I'm just like. No,
that never happened inside Catholicism. There was never like, and Jesus went back with his mama.
No, I wasn't even making that kind of joke. I was just saying, bless you, my child, is what people, okay. We're getting off track. What are the Facebook moms saying, Xchel? I know you're in it.
Well, I've been nominated.
Taylor's win.
I've been nominated as the Hispanic division of the Facebook mom groups. Just because
there's a Hispanic division of they segregate the Facebook mom group?
Well, it's September, so they have to give us props for the month. It'll all be taken away at the end of October or at the end of September. We'll go back to being ignored. But I think we've hired or we've all come together and given a King of Facebook Moms title away. So now we have a leader. It's Kyle. He gives us his messages through his dances, and specifically his dance today that was posted told us to stay together and love one another, and only God alone can judge. Les Moonves. So it was a good time on Facebook mom groups. We don't have any more memes, because there's nothing to be racist about. So that's the only downfall. So that's all that's going on Facebook mom groups.
Awesome. Thank you for the Facebook mom group update with my husband, Xchel Hernandez. Okay, so we got through the final HOHs. So how it works in in Big Brother, you learned quickly, even though you've watched other seasons, but you have someone's going to win the first, someone's going to win the second, and then
Turner,
whoever
Monty.
wins the first and second compete in the third, and then they get to pick who they bring. So Taylor was just sitting there like, hopefully I get picked.
I do want to say that third one between Turner and Monty was really exciting, that they knew so much information together and that it was really close up until like the last two questions. So I did want to say that. I really liked the third competition. As far as Monty picking Taylor, I think that was a case of I think Monty spent a little bit too much time with Turner, and I think that they believed their own like back and forth. You know, I think that happens. Like, you know, when I'm with my best friend and we start talking Vikings football and we're like, oh, it's total Super Bowl this year. And we're like, oh yeah, Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback I've ever seen. Have you seen Dalvin Cook? He's amazing. And then we watch the game on Sunday and we're like, oh, we're totally not in the same reality as what we actually are living. And I think that's what happened with Monty and Turner, because I think the way Monty presented himself at the end, he's like, my biggest move was getting rid of Turner. And I really felt that if they would have just if he really thought about it, maybe taken a step away. And I don't know if Turner was just always on his side of like, man, we're going to the end, we're doing this, and maybe got a little annoying or whatever. I think that Monty saw Turner as a bigger threat than he was, because the way that the people in the jury were speaking were like, oh, it's all Monty. Turner's not doing anything. And so I think that if he would have known that, he would have picked Turner. I do feel that the disadvantage was to Monty in the final two against Taylor. I think Taylor, you know, as a beauty queen, I think you learn public speaking really fast. Specifically, they're coached on how to, you know, say your message and to repeat the key facets, give an example, and then repeat the thing again. And I think that was her strongest part of her competition, was the way she came. But I do feel that, and this is from a personal level, so I love Taylor and everything, but
are you going to get us canceled?
I think
like Nana?
So the Facebook moms and I were no, I'm just joking. This is specifically to my opinion, and I'm open to discussion about this. But I do feel that Taylor, her message was more like, it's time to change the game. This is about life. This is about resiliency. Don't vote about the game. And I think that she was so good in spreading that message that that's what really got her to win. Where I think, like, if this was really the game perspective, it should have been Monty's game. And I think Monty just was smelling his own fart so much that it was led to his downfall. My favorite part, though, is watching people when they think they're going to win and then they lose. So
he thought he was going to win.
I was always eyes on Monty on that. And just the like, I loved it so much. And even with like Turner, you know, he thought he was going to go final two with Monty. And I think that that's the best part. I think I'll take away from this is Monty's way of conflict. And like, I know that anytime I get in an argument with anybody now, I'm just be like, listen, I respect you a lot, but you're dumb. So I respect you.
That is Monty's way. And then he talks it to death.
Yeah.
And that, okay. So to answer your point about Taylor, I will say that, so what I found it interesting, what Taylor spoke of during her speech actually didn't have the weight we thought it did on the jury, because the jury had already decided whether Taylor was up against Turner or Monty, Taylor was going to win. They found her to have the best social game overall. They found her, I feel like, you know, with Big Brother, it would be great if they had the kind of jury rules or jury guidance that Survivor has: outwit, outlast, outplay. And if you put those three to Monty, I don't think it stands up as strong as it does story-wise to Taylor. And that's what I love about Survivor is Survivor, you don't have to be six-pack abs. You don't have to be a big guy. And there's been a lot of criticism over the past, however many seasons, that these last three, especially the actually parts 1 and 2 of the final HOHs, are very geared towards the men when they're playing, because we've had very few women that have won. And then there's, you know, greater strategists than I that cover this that can break that down even further. But there's definitely something there with that. So I feel as though with Taylor coming in and being like, it's 24 seasons now into this game. It was the best speech I've ever heard in Big Brother history. I was like, I have chills. They're multiplying, it was crazy. But
This is a
I
great
think it was such a great speech. And I think that she spoke to the heart of the game, the heart of the experience, and the heart of outlasting despite having all the roadblocks. And I think that's an important factor for Survivor. And Survivor and Big Brother are very similar, other than the live feeds and them being outside eaten alive by
They're similar,
bugs.
but they're not the same show. And
They're not the same show.
as a casual though, it was like I think that the way that the game's set up is like you're basically asking these questions so that you say who you think you're going to vote for, and to hear that the jury already came up with like an idea of who would win, who depending on who was up there, is kind of like it's always pre-planned, like stupid Hollywood magic.
Well, I think
but,
because
like,
they have that jury segment, like with Dr. Will. So they always have that. So they have the jury roundtable, and then you have the last person, or you don't even have the last person evict. You don't have the third. So you don't have Turner there yet. You had Brittany join.
mhm.
And that's where they deliberate and stuff. And remember, they have all that time in the jury house to talk
But
about this
that
stuff.
to me makes it more like it's more Big Brother happening outside the house than because I think like you should form your own opinion. This is just my rules of the game. It's like don't talk to anybody about the game. Like this is really what you believe to be true in this moment, and that's what makes the game a lot of fun. Is that you come down to these two speeches and you're like, oh, it could be this or it could be that. And from a casual perspective, I never thought like, oh man, they talked about this to death in the house and they already know who they're going to vote for left and right. Like I know the questions are pre-screened and whatever, and they're going to ask whatever they need to. But at the same time, it's like I was under the impression that the choice was made at that time and not like before the.
Well, that's the purpose of the jury house, is for them to go. They're done with the game. They have no contact with the outside world, but they have contact with each other to deliberate. So it's similar to a courtroom where the jury is sent off and can't talk to anyone else. So that's the idea of the jury, is the same way we use it in our judicial system. So they have all this time to take
I respect you, but I disagree with that. I do feel like there are producers there, and I think that the questions asked.
Well, yeah, it's TV. It's TV.
Nobody. Yeah. I mean, I think that everyone knows what's happening, specifically when the whole Kyle situation came up. It's like now we need producers to send a certain message, and how do we portray that message on television? How do we edit it? How do we get this all together so that it is presentable still? And I think that, you think that it's just those people talking about who they're going to vote for, but I think that there is other voices in the house that we don't see. And that's what I'm saying is like, this should always just be like personal opinion and I'm not taking away from Taylor's win, but from a casual perspective, you think this is all happening in real time. And what you're saying is it's not. So
you're saying you were under the understanding that they didn't discuss anything until finale night.
That at least they didn't discuss who should we all vote for. It felt like the worst part about Big Brother, the house wants, all in the finale night, where it's like
it really
the house
goes
wants.
That way. But a lot of times it's come down to that final vote. It'll go like 50-50, and then you're like, okay, this is the last vote. When Nicole beat Paul, that was similar to that. There's been so many seasons, so it's not always like that. That just is a sign of whoever's in the final two. If you get blown away by that, you did something wrong with your game, or the person next to you did something so right, you just can't beat it.
But you're telling me that like someone like Terrence, who's hated on someone this whole game, goes to a house where he talks to people.
Think he was influenced by producers to vote for?
Oh, I'm going to vote for that person. I've been shit talking this whole time. Like it just, I wish that I want it to, as a casual fan, I want it to be live. As a person who's worked in or just been on the outskirts of television, I haven't worked in television. It's kind of like, oh yeah, it's movie magic in the sense that like there is something that needs to be said.
It was interesting that Terrence's vote changed. And what Amanda's saying is correct. I think even Jess from BB23, or no, she was BB21. She told us that too, is that you're not supposed to talk too much, but I would find it almost impossible to stop them. I mean, they do have people that stay in the house with them, and they're kind of like caretakers. They're probably like some kind of staff, like PAs, things like that can help them. I think one gets assigned to each of them. It could be different now.
I just think that this game kind of took a turn, like with the Kyle situation. It just felt like
it took a turn.
It took a turn because it felt like a family reunion where some drama happened, but that guy's still invited to the reunion, but nobody talks about it. But it's like he's still there because he's part of the family, like,
yeah,
let's say he kissed, they caught him making out with his cousin, and you're just like,
what kind of family reunion did you got going on?
To be here, and they're like, kids will be kids, and you're like, he's 14, like
what? Chill, what kind of, oh my goodness, this took a turn. Yeah, there were rumors.
Which is what happened inside Big Brother. It took a turn.
Which happened inside Big Brother. Kyle's situation definitely took a turn, and I think that with him trying to start that all-white alliance, and then that information coming out, and then him having to go to the jury and explain that to everyone, and then everyone having their own feelings about that and processing that, the game definitely took a turn. Nunya, but it was a great turn in that we usually never see those people held accountable for that kind of behavior. Nunya is saying, do you know that there were rumors that Terrence had to leave the jury house for a day after a fight with possibly Michael or another cast member? That was the rumor. I never did a video on it because I didn't find solid enough evidence. I mean, it was just speculation, but it could happen, and I wonder if they'll talk about it.
I don't know. I think with each season, there's things that happen, and then there's things that people don't talk about. I think I go back to like season 16. Was it Bailey who got like pushed out with Howie? Was it Haley about Howie?
Oh, you're talking about 15? That was 15? Candace and Howie.
Thank you. Like, I think after the whole season was done, like, there wasn't real mention about what had happened. There's no real discussion. It's very American history in high school, where we kind of like, oh yeah, this happened, let's move on. That we agree that it happened, but we don't need to have discussions about it at all. And I feel like that's what happens with each season. Like, there'll be something that happens that everybody will agree will be like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then it's just like, well, we'll wait till next season. Yay. Like, so I just feel like I don't think it'll be talked about other than like Kyle admitting on national TV what he did and then go from there kind of thing.
Will we find out about Terrence? Did he really get kicked out or not? We don't know. They're under contract for a certain amount of time. There's only certain things that they can
We're waiting
say.
for them Big Brother memoirs that reveal all the secrets.
Well, Terrence, I mean, he can't even get a follow on Instagram, so no one's going to pay him to write. He's going to have to publish his own book because that dude is a whole mess. But I do think you're right that Terrence, probably talking to people in the jury house, maybe was able to see that the tides were definitely toward Taylor, because I think in that house, you're not able to speak freely at all. You're just worried about game. So maybe somebody was able to humanize Taylor to this man, because Terrence was one of the #1 Taylor haters for no other reason other than there's something in him that just is wrong. That I don't know any other reason.
I think that goes back to like, I don't know. I'm trying to look at this from like a very, very outside perspective. Like, I think that the way we talk to women on the show was never really dealt with compared to the way that race was brought up in the show, and I think that like
a lot of people say that like we're tackling racism, we're trying to, but misogyny is still
like, it's cool that all those stuff was said, and she was basically intimidated, but she still stood her ground. And that's like, I really love Taylor. I think she's great, and I think she did the best with the tools that she was given. But that to me is Survivor, like it's not Big Brother. But I'm just a casual fan. I do want to say what was troubling though is when they did America's Favorite Player. Like, I'm very happy Taylor won and Michael got second place, but with like Kyle getting third place, I was really like, oh yeah, there's always going to be, it just felt like January 6th all over again, like it wasn't that's what it wasn't, it's all like, oh, okay, but we all witnessed it, like, I don't know. I think that was bothersome for me. And
Do you think as a casual, it's a direct reflection of how the show edited Kyle and how maybe it went like, because from a casual perspective, and you're also speaking as a person of color perspective, seeing Kyle, you didn't see all the things Kyle said on the feeds, but from what you saw, what you know, did you think that was enough to classify him as a racist, as someone who
I think
was
if he got what he
leading with
wanted,
bigotry?
if he left the game, then yeah, he'd totally be racist because he's not willing to be held accountable for his actions. I think that what was important and what I think that they should have done is they should have released the whole conversation on like YouTube,
Yes.
because ultimately like race conversation is so cool and it's important. We have to talk about it. And it's no longer a thing that we should constantly avoid. Like, that's just those people and we're just these people and that's what we do. No, like I love conversations on race, and like sometimes I'll be on Twitch and they'll have a panel of people and they'll be talking about race and I'll watch because it's interesting to me to have these discussions. It's like when we don't have those discussions, that's when we don't know about people, and that's where our that's when we stigmatize people because we don't understand, we're not talking to each other, and like that's what I really love about the hospital in my experience where I work. It's very diverse. The not only the people working there, but also the people coming there, rich, poor, black, white, Latino. I love it. And I've always loved being surrounded by people of color because I grew up in white neighborhoods constantly. Like my mom was upper middle class and my dad was like low to middle class because he was single father. But so I constantly grew up in white neighborhoods, and that was kind of my reality. And so being surrounded by people of color has just been like very enlightening for me and like invigorating, because like I know when we moved to LA, like Minnesota's cool. Like I met my best friend there and stuff, but we really had to look for those places nestled within the city. And I feel like in LA, it was like constantly everywhere, except for some areas where you're like, oh, there are no people of color.
Yeah, but it's much more diverse and you get people from all over and it's like a wonderful melting pot.
But I think that ultimately what Big Brother should have done, and this is way outside, is just put up that thing that's like, this conversation doesn't represent us in any way, but it's the views of certain people, and like have that conversation with people to be shown on YouTube. Like I think they would have got like millions of views just to watch people talk about race and their own experiences and like where Kyle kind of came up with this. But I do think that they forced his hand to stay because he wanted to self-evict. And I think that's where the part where Kyle, I commend him, or I should say maybe not commend him, but I respect him for not being like, I gotta leave, and just actually like owning up to it and having that conversation with those people. I don't know if respect is the right word, but like, I think it's good that he stayed.
I will say that what I wish they would have shown is how long it took them to convince him to stay, how long it took him to actually admit what he did was coming from a place of bias, and how him putting every person of color in the house together, not based off the cookout, not just African Americans, how it took him a long time and he hurt a lot of people's feelings in his denial period. But Big Brother cut the feeds a lot. And what they chose to show us, a lot of that didn't make the episode. So instead, what I think happened, here's what I think, Xchel. I think they brought him in to the DR and he's crying his eyes out. I gotta leave. I want my mom. I'm going to get canceled, because I think people are more worried about being canceled than they are about being an actual racist. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think, there's not enough talk
to be
about.
fair, there's more consequences to be canceled than to be racist.
That's the sad truth in America. There really is. So it's crazy. But I think that, there could be more talk about, being how to be anti-racist, because it's not good enough now just to be like, I'm not racist. We see that, the best course of action for progress in the future is to be anti-racist. And so what I think happened is he goes in the DR, right? And he's crying his eyes out. I miss you, Ty. I miss my mommy. I miss shirtless TikTok. I'm sorry. If we think of the severity of what the guy did, he went against his own friends who had trusted him, who had worked with him in the game, who had stood by him and had his back. And just decided, well, they're people of color, so they're obviously working against me. He made up this story in his head that somehow they were all working together because one time in 24 years that happened, where they were trying to, have the first Black winner. There hadn't been representation. There was a little more diversity. We know the story. I've talked about it every live that I've done. But I think that they said, you stay, Kyle. You know what? You stay and we'll get a redemption arc. Because normally, because he went back in, and I don't know if they showed this on the episodes, Xchel, but he went back and he was in the DR forever, right? I thought for sure he was leaving. He had a blankie on him. Every conversation he had a blankie. He needed a security blankie. Like, I know when I talk about race, I don't see color. It's like, you definitely see color. So he came out and he would say things like, well, I think it's important because we normally don't see this. People don't find out till after. So I think they did the Hollywood thing and they said, here's your, here is your new character arc. You will be the guy who you didn't do it because you're hurtful. You just didn't know because you've never been to a bar. Because that's what he said. I've never been to a bar. That was one of his reasons. Was that in an episode, Joe?
Bars are what make people racist.
That's where you find people of
knowingly
color,
racist,
obviously.
not ignorant racist, but knowingly racist.
I mean, it was the weirdest things he would say. I've never been to a bar.
They're like, it doesn't have enough racism on it. I don't know if I can let you in. You're too ignorant racist.
But seriously, so he's like, I've never been to a bar. I've never had these experiences. Yet, of course, the people on Twitter, the sleuths, they pulled up a picture of him at a damn bar. And it's like, that has nothing to do with nothing. You're 30. It's not like this is a young guy. This is a 30-year-old man. So I think they said, you can go in and we'll empower you. And then you will be the voice of redemption, and you owned up to it. So you could be like the hero. And I think that he went back in for that reason, because the conversations he was having, Joe, he went in, and they didn't show this on the episode, or did they? Correct me. And he was like, hi, sorry, I put you guys all in a, I tried to make a mayonnaise alliance, all the white people, and I went against you, even though you guys are my friends and very loyal to me just because of the color of your skin. Anywho, can you guys give me some tips, some racism? They didn't show
racism tips.
Yes,
how can I be more racist without? What are your insecurities? I want physical only. I need physical.
He acted like it was a damn job interview. At the end where you have to ask something, and do you have any questions for me? What do you think I could do, or what are you looking for in a candidate? He was like, what are you looking for in a white? What can the whites do to?
He seems like that type of white friend that's like, I laugh at Dave Chappelle for all the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? That's funny. I like it.
And it's all the wrong reasons. Yeah. So it was just kind of like, then he was looking to the Black House guests to save him, teach him, and I just felt like Big Brother put them in such a bad position of now having to teach the guy they've just been betrayed by, and not betrayed in a game sense, betrayed just simply because of the color of their skin.
Well, I also think Kyle's strength, and sadly this is his strength, is to do the "oh shucks, I didn't know, oh shucks," and I don't know if this is just how he's grown up or whatever, but it's like, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. That's just how you have to own up to it. And I think that ultimately he finally owned up to his actions, even though maybe he was promised an arc or whatever, but he did I got to sit through this shit. And the most awkward time of your life, of course, is to do this in front of national TV. So, I think that ultimately he couldn't use his aw shucksness to get away with it, but it's still there. Like on finale night, he sat where he sat and he was like,
he's been doing that. He's been doing that. And what we saw in the game is BK makes a great point. Kyle is a master manipulator in this game. Had he not been a bigot, I think he would have won this game. He was manipulating the shit out of a lot of these people.
He's great to save Alyssa by throwing, Joseph under the bus and Turner. As soon as that happened, he's like, I got to save Alyssa.
But the Terrence, same way,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. The same way he's manipulating strategy, he's manipulating people into thinking he didn't know what he was doing was wrong, and that aw shucks you talk about. So it's a similar manipulation that I find just like, bro, go away for a while, educate your damn self. And I've said I hope he uses this TikTok following that he has by going like he does nothing, and he has 600,000, like the privilege.
But
of
he's an
I
attractive
hope he
person.
uses
like,
that.
That's like why he's popular on TikTok. Like
There's a lot of attractive people, but
but he's an attractive, goofy person. Like that's just who he is. And so, of course, like I think that this also has to deal with issues or like conversations about how you look and how you present yourself and how you're able to win back a certain part if you look like decent, because I'm pretty sure if Kyle had boils all over his face and he said some racist stuff, we'd be like,
oh, of course,
fucking troll, get him the fuck out of here. He's a troll, but he's just like a little boy with his hair like up
yeah,
front, like, oh shucks, I didn't know, like it's just like that idea to me is very interesting. Is that
he even used the Taylor, her issues in the house that she had, that people had, and her being a victim of being gaslit, lied on, bullied, to his advantage with the leftovers formation. Like if you look back now, knowing what we know about Kyle, it's like, whoa, his manipulation went that far. He was willing to be like, yeah, Taylor, we will fight for you, we will do this. But really that just, I mean, I understand it's a game, but that just benefited him. It was very disingenuous on a lot of people in the leftovers on their behalfs. And I think I had a moment where I was like, well, maybe I misjudged Kyle, because I prejudged him right away. I was like, oh God, the stuff I had heard, I was like, he looks like a January 6th, or I don't know. So sorry, I stopped you from saying something.
I don't think it was important.
It's always important, Xchel.
No, I'm just saying, I think my point is clear in terms of like, I think but it's like, I don't know, who would have gotten third place? Like if Kyle was not there, who would have gotten third place? I'll tell you who wouldn't have gotten it. Nicole wouldn't have gotten it. Daniel Pooch wasn't there for long. Amira was gone early. Paloma freaked out. She wasn't gone.
Turner? He had Muffingate.
Turner was fun because he played with the audience in that way. But
he
again,
gave us better feeds than Kyle.
He's not the aesthetic look that people are looking for, So like, I don't think he should have gotten third place maybe, but
we don't always go that way for America's Favorite Player, because you have like Donnie, BB16. So I think some kind of times like the goofy one, or whatever they deem the goofy person. But yeah, I totally
too erratic.
Yeah, Brittany wouldn't have got it.
Someone needed to be charismatic, and that's
Monty was boring.
Monty was boring, yeah.
He was so boring. He put me to sleep. At first, I was like, he's not boring. And then I'm like, he's so boring. Once him and Taylor started hooking up, I was like, oh my God.
I like that. You're that's like so
Joseph.
Joseph should have won.
Joseph should have.
He would have been great.
But I think it would have been the vote, him and Taylor.
Then it would have been a person of color, someone with different sexuality, and another person of color. Not my world. I need at least one white. That's America. No, just
one gay guy and two people of color. America can't handle that. We got to have a white in there to white it up.
I think Joseph was very charismatic. I think the way he went down, the way he was edited, though, felt like he was a little bit whiny. So, like, maybe that's what cost him.
They did him a disjustice. Is that what I'm looking for? Is that what I'm trying to say? Injustice. Sorry. They did him an injustice. First of all, they cut feeds during Dire Fest, Xchel. So we barely got to see what happened out there the first how many ever days, hours. So once we did go back there, I was like, what did these people do? Kyle had outed the leftovers. Alyssa wasn't even on the block. Terrence is like, I don't even know where Terrence is. Turner, I have no idea what he's thinking. Everyone acts like they're on Survivor and they're on like there's like 100 days or something. They act like they were dying because they were in the backyard eating Spam, getting ants crawling. It's like, you have a pool, you have a flushable porta potty. I mean, I don't hear the Survivor people complain as much as the Big Brother people did for Dire Fest. And then I come back and Joseph is fighting his ass off to be like, oh, like he didn't even know for a while that Kyle outed the leftovers of Terrence, and Kyle did it the second he went out there. And they Joseph fought till the very end, and they made it seem like, even in the episode, that Joseph did this horrendous thing by mentioning a final 3 or whatever with Brittany and Taylor. And by that time, there had been so much that they had, that had been done in the game. And he's just like, what's happening? Why did Kyle do this? How am I going to save myself? His girlfriend's out here. Turner's out here. He didn't want to rock the boat. He wanted to roll with Kyle. So, and Terrence is just, he's just a messy player. So by that time, I think you're right. They didn't show, I think they should have shown it more as Joseph being the victim of Kyle blowing up their very loyal alliance far too soon for a showmance. And that wasn't evident. Kyle was acting as though it's because he loved Alyssa. No, he felt bad because he only lasted 10 seconds on a floaty. And he was doing it because he thought all the people of color in the house were working together. And what they didn't show you, what we saw in the feeds, is a lot of casuals think, well, Kyle just thought this for like a week. Because that's what it seemed like, right? From the episode, like no, Kyle thought this for a long time. He kept bringing it up when people, even Brittany, which they did show in an episode, kind of was like, I don't know about that, but she wasn't as blunt as she should have been. He kept rolling with that, and that is how they all kind of teamed up. The white alliance, because it kept being talked about, but they made it seem like it was just a fleeting thought, like, well, the cookout, and so I'm going to add Indy, and I'm going to add this person. And then Kyle, they let the audience, I think, did you believe from the edit, Xchel, that the Kyle was left out of conversations like he said he was, and that's what led him to kind of go against the leftovers during the Air Fest?
I think Kyle is is a manipulator, so he's a shit talker. So it wasn't that he was left out of conversations as much as he was whoever he was talking to. He was trying to spit.
But did they edit it in a way where it seemed like he was left out?
No, I thought he was always a part of things. He was a part of the first All Guys Alliance, which then turned into the leftovers so that the girls wouldn't win. And then he broke it off when he split the house. He went to Terrence and created that alliance. And the only thing that really stopped him from moving forward was when Brittany and Michael stepped up. And that I think that was the hard part, was like, it wasn't brought up, or the way it was edited wasn't shown that this was an important talking point up until like Michael, which I think would have stained, if Michael was in the final two, I think that would have stained his win. I think people would have been talking about that for a while, especially in the casual sphere, because we didn't see what you guys saw.
Casuals were big mad at Michael.
Yeah, I think that the idea of being mad at Michael came from like, well, if it was an issue, why didn't you speak on it before? Like with a Terrence kind of way of looking at it, where it's like, well, why are you bringing it now when you're trying to save you or your ally? Like, what's that about? And if you were really trying to save, the integrity of this game, why didn't you pull Taylor off? Or, why did you pull Brittany off? Because you knew Kyle was going up there, and no one's going to vote for Taylor after Kyle said some racy things, so I think that, I think that's where the disconnect came from in terms of casuals versus feeders. So,
yeah. And I think they did a disservice to Michael and Brittany. Should they have said something right away? 100%. If someone comes to you anywhere in life and says, hey, you know what? I don't trust any of the people of color around us. Let's just keep the whites together. I think the people of color are trying to gain power in the world. Let's keep the whites together. Let's say, what's his neck and the closet gay guy from the Senate or the
2016
House.
Republican Party.
Yeah. Let's say they come in and say that. Stop him right away before it gets a little too far, So what I will say is, it seemed like they were willing to, what the edit was willing to do is to villainize Brittany and Michael and let the audience eat them up. You can definitely hold them accountable, but also realize that what Kyle did was worse than what they did. Now, were they complicit to this? Yes. Did they not say anything especially on Michael's behalf, as soon as he should have? For sure. Did it look as though it was for a strategic reason? Yes, but Kyle's was for a strategic reason too, and it was also for a for a biased reason, for a bigoted reason. So but I feel like production was willing to let Brittany and Michael go down in flames, where Kyle, they were like, well, he's a kid. He didn't know anybody. He's never been to a bar. I mean, he buttons his button-up shirts to the top. He reads the Book of Mormon. He doesn't know. He lives with his mom. And so they held Brittany and Michael to a higher standard than they did him within the edit. So it made it so that Kyle will have this redemption arc, but Brittany and Michael can go straight to hell. And that's kind of how I saw it.
I agree with that. I think that's what it was. I mean, it felt like, oh, well, Michael, you should know. You're a lawyer. You should know this is bad. Why didn't you speak on it earlier? Kid Kyle over here is obviously innocent. He has
Michael's younger than Kyle.
No, that's what the point was.
It's crazy.
Like that to me, I think it's the way that Kyle presents himself is what makes him a great manipulator. He's like, he has a look that, reinforces his wants. And, I think with those type of people, specifically him and also very beautiful people, it's like one day you're not going to have that and you're going to have to figure shit out, or else you're going to be like, oh, this doesn't work anymore. Now that I'm 40 and my hair's thinning and my hair doesn't go on my forehead anymore.
Are you talking about me? Are you talking about me, Chad?
Wearing ears and a tie-dye shirt with a red lamp behind me and a sign that says "Break Down Joleen." I'm like, what's going on with my life? I'm just joking. But I do feel like he needs to figure some stuff out, because I think he'll get to a point in life where that type of manipulation won't work anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he has a lot of, there's pretty privilege in the world. He has a lot of white privilege. The dude is white. If you want to see white privilege, like walking, breathing on your TV, it's Kyle. He's had to do the least to get the most. He's protected. And like you said, he's, under, the scope of white supremacy, you look at him and it's almost like we've been conditioned, whether we want to believe it or not, to look at Kyle types, white, blonde hair, blue, green eyes, whatever, and think, oh, well, we trust him. And, it's the same way Kyle looked into the camera while holding Alyssa and said, America loves us because we're the all-American couple. And to say something like that as two white people and both agreeing, it just goes to show how much we've been conditioned under white supremacy to believe that that is the picture of beauty, of love, of an American couple. That's what America looks like, when really America looks like a diverse. That's just certain parts of America, like Utah, which is a rather white state. Love Zion, but
diverse is such, or I should say, like, I think that is the picture of an American couple. Let's just be honest. I mean, like, the first time we saw interracial commercials was like 2015, 16. It was a Cheerios.
Wasn't there a big Cheerios? Yeah, there's a big Cheerios thing about
people,
it.
Like, freaked out about it. Like, but we got married, and like, we were together since 2009, married in 2000.
You used to grab my arm and go, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, this wasn't possible. And I was like,
You're like,
in
1980? Yeah.
I was like, I think it was in the 80s. I think a little longer, child.
And I think it's so funny though, because it's like, sometimes my stepdad, he'll bring up this point about like rule of law or something. And I'll be like, well, it used to be like rule of law used to say interracial marriage wasn't. And it'd be like, well, yeah. And so like that point goes to like rules.
Because he's in an interracial marriage. So it's hard to be like rule of law. Well, when the laws change or progress.
Laws need to be updated. Yeah.
They do need to be updated. Progress needs to be made for the betterment of humanity. And I find that so funny, like the old school like that.
That's to speak on the interracial. But I think that Kyle's right in the sense of like what he's watched, what he's been reinforced with, that is the American couple. And only recently, like when I say recently, like within the past 5 years, have we seen like interracial dating, or not dating, but actual marriages and families on television. So I
And
think
we're
dating
going
is always
backwards.
been there, but not like marriages or anything. So
And we're going backwards with people that want to legislate and, kind of take away saying the word gay in schools or things like that. So I feel like there's progress that's made. So America is just the United States. That's why when people say, oh, this show's supposed to be fun and we don't talk about this stuff, it's a direct representation of what we're going through. It's a mirror. It's a social game. And so it's a direct representation of America. And America's kind of a mess when it comes to this stuff. And by kind of, I mean very much so a mess.
I think that
it's a social
Big Brother
mess.
has always been a white game, and it wasn't until like last year that people of color saw that like, oh wow, we can do well here, and it created an excitement within communities of like, this is awesome. And then we saw what that then gave our world, which is like one of the most diverse casts in Big Brother history was this season. So like, to me, that says that like, and I think that the cookout season was in response to the season before where it got like super racist, or like it got.
Well, 21 was, yes, that was Jackson Mickey, and they had camp segregation where basically every person of color was picked at from the start and kept in the house, but couldn't talk game and had to wear special clothes. It was a whole mess. I don't know who in production thought that was a good idea. I would, the minute it was like,
let's have them wear Stars of David, and then they can only shop at their own.
It was crazy because they were like, and you have to live in these certain quarters that are shitty, and you have to wear these clothes, and you can't talk to any of the whites, and you can't talk game. And so they were able to then treat them really.
You need to study there, so we're going to call them concentration.
It was like, I was like, who is letting this abort? And then you had 22, and you had the All-Star season. The All-Star season, again, you had all the white people get in this big alliance that took over the house. You had Christmas Abbott's racist ass who, microaggressions towards Bailey and Davon, and saying, if they stab her, it's these similar things that were said about Taylor. If we put her on the block, she's going to freak out. She's going to pop off. She's going to get loud, which Taylor never got loud. She never popped off. She never was mad when she should have been. That's the crazy standard Black women are held to, is that they can't even, and we see it in this game, and I see it every year, that they can't even have an emotion. They can't even have a normal emotional reaction. It makes me want to scream, thinking that Taylor should be able to scream in that house. The way she was treated, she should have been able to go and F you and your mama too, and this person over here, and I hate your dog. You know what I mean? I hope you lose your foot. She should have been able to say, but she had to be so careful. So that's the one thing I'm so excited about Taylor's win and everything, and not to bring it down, but there's going to need to be a lot of, she's going to need a lot of time to process this, because right now she's in like excitement mode. But what she was put through and what we watched on the feeds, what I think casuals didn't see, Xchel, is that there was nothing that woman could do that was right from the first day. They bullied her. They picked on her. They gaslit her. When she found one person she felt as though she could talk to, she had a relationship with Joseph, they then gaslit her to believe that he was this horrible person, which they didn't have to do because he was out of the game and he was gone by that time. So they could have easily just said Joseph flipped. Yeah, but they took it even farther. And Alyssa even admitted that she said things about Joseph just to make Taylor sad, just to make her feel worse. So these are the type of people that she was surrounded with. Then she gets in the showmance with Monty, and you think Monty or Terrence. Terrence, as Dawn was saying in the chat, had more empathy for Kyle than he ever had for Taylor, as he slut-shamed her and talked down to her and looked down to her. And all she ever wanted was to get along with him, and she thought she was fine with him, and he kept stabbing her in the back, but he loved Alyssa, and he, had Kyle's back. And then you have, she gets a relationship with Monty, and then he starts in on, he's just got a very, I don't know if you probably didn't, you saw that conversation with Monty and Taylor when she was in the tub and he got mad about headphone gate. I need to get your opinion on headphone gate, Xchel. What's your understanding of what went down between Monty and Taylor?
I think no, you showed me it. I remember. That's just basically he overreacted to a single moment, and then it became tension throughout the whole rest of their relationship. And even when he sat down to explain herself, like, or himself, she agreed and apologized, and then like was like, hey, I'm just really sorry that I said that about your goddaughter. There was no like meanness about it, but I could totally see how. And then from there it just became like it became a, you know, a thing he couldn't get over. And, you know, I think that with Monty, you know, and what I hate about this game, it's like what is real and what is manipulation in the sense. And I feel like, you know, in essence, like if you're in a house with just 3 people, you're bound to be like, wow, I think that person is the person of my dreams, just because you're surrounded by a limited amount of people. And even if like one of them treats you like crap and the other one treats you like kind of like crap, you're gonna be like, the one that treats me kind of like crap is like treats me awesome. I love that person. You know, like I think that's what happens when you're inside a house with a limited amount of people. Like you don't see your worth because no one else values you as people do outside the house. I think that with like Monty and stuff, I think, you know, it just became a thing between them. Like they're both like young people and they just wanted to hook up and cool about it. But then like the issue, I think that this is a casual perspective. I don't know what happened on feeds. I think that it ended amicably in the sense that, you know, he did honor his choice to take her to final 2. But I don't know if that was like, I think I could win against her, or more of like, well, I did promise her and we did kind of fiddle around. So if I don't, then I'm kind of like an asshole. So I should really take that into account. You know, like I'm not sure if that was what happened in feeds. So, but I think that ultimately he did make a mistake. And I think he realized it when she started answering her questions like an all-star. So.
Yeah. So I'll answer for you. He did take her 100% because he thought he could beat her. He always thought he could beat her. He assumed that because of how she was treated in the house and because how he treated her early on and then later in the game, that everyone kind of felt the same way, not knowing that the tides had turned and he was about to get snowed and he was about to get the you look so dumb right now. You know, her little Rihanna line that she said to Nicole. What they showed in the episode about Monty with Headphone Gate was it didn't really scratch the surface. And it was interesting because when you and I were watching the episode, I think you pointed out this fact, Xchel. You said, you know what? He mentioned, so the first thing that happened was that he started snoring and she's in the HOH bed. And so she takes the headphones off and like, give me those headphones. Like they're very sarcastic with each other. You see it on the feeds constantly. They have this kind of tit for tat back and forth. And then he's like sleeping. He's like, you know, kind of, and Turner's there and Brittany's there. But you said he didn't even mention that Brittany was there. He only mentioned that Turner was there. So I think you brought up a great point that his ego couldn't allow him to be seen by another man get headphones that weren't his taken off his head by a woman because he didn't care that Brittany was there. It was all just Turner.
I don't know about that. I think that to me, this is just my perspective.
I feel like you're like this, Xchel. I don't know.
I respect you.
Is it too heavy of a conversation? I'm trying to keep it like fun, but it's not the funnest thing to talk about, you know.
I mean, it's Big Brother, so I kind of lose interest after 40 minutes. But I think, look, from a personal perspective and what I used to do in my 20s, like when I was a shitty person who was dating people, is that you find ways to leave a relationship when you get the things that you want. And I think that this was just an opportunity for him to leave because, you know, Taylor had won HOH in that week. And so therefore, like, how do you save yourself? But just kind of lean into, maybe there was like a like that he had for her, but it wasn't really like something he saw long term with her. And so I think that like partly was like, all right, well, I'm safe. Turner's going to be safe. You know, like it's, you know, I just got to find a thing to get out of here. And I think that's the reason that after that headphone thing, he went straight to Turner and he was like, yo, bro, just so we know we're on the real, like me and Taylor diddled and I love you more. That's why I'm telling you the truth right now. Like you're safe. Like, So I think that there was part of that. And I think that that comes with the game, though. Like, that's what I don't like about Big Brother. It's kind of usy. And so, you know, I think that ultimately, like, once Monty got what he needed to get, he's like, okay, well, I got to find a way to get out.
He had the post-nut clarity you spoke of previously.
Yeah. You know, it could have been anything too. He could have been like talking to Taylor, and she might have had a chip in her tooth. You know, sometimes that happens, right? And then he'd be like, "Get that chip out your mouth. I hate you." And then he goes downstairs and he's like, "Turner, she had chips in her mouth. Just so you know, I diddled her. High five." And so, you know, like, I think ultimately, like, that's how you knew that this relationship was kind of like already done, when you overreact to small things, because ultimately if it gets to that point, then it's like, oh, you guys are just hanging out, and it's not a serious thing.
I think he treated her just like a hookup, which and I think he never looked at her the same way he looked at like Paloma or the other women in the house. He always kind of looked down on Taylor. Taylor
Everyone
was
did,
just like everyone did, but
like, maybe Michael and Brittany, they were outcasts from the beginning, so they kind of were like, "Come on, Taylor, hang out with us."
I don't remember Michael. Michael participated in one time where he made a joke about miscongeniality very early on, and then fessed up to it and said he felt bad about it because he was just trying to like fit in, which, you know.
But that's the thing you do. Like, I mean, that's part of it. It's like,
and then Brittany later, I don't know, I don't understand Brittany's game, because she was just like, she could have rode with Taylor. They could have really had some final two energy, I always thought, but then she would throw Taylor under the bus for no reason. She'd say, "Oh, I love you, you're great." And then it was unnecessary. I think some of Brittany's behavior, I wouldn't necessarily trust the gal even outside of the house, but that's just me. But I think Monty, you know, I think when someone makes a mistake, which Taylor was like, "Okay, I guess I made a mistake." I didn't think what she did was a mistake. I didn't think she took the headphones off in a rude way. If his feelings were hurt, okay, sorry, bro, they're not your headphones. But it wasn't like she was like, "Give me them headphones." And then she even apologized as she was like, "Oh, I didn't mean to grab your glasses," but his ego was so bruised. And then when it came to the goddaughter, he was just looking for a reason to be upset with her. So he's like, "How dare you? How dare she state a fact to be sarcastic about it?" Like, that's what you two do to each other. When she tries to help him in the kitchen with something, he'll be like, "Oh, because I don't know, because you know, because you're so good at this." They do this, they have that rapport. So it was okay for him to rib, but she couldn't rib back. So then when what they didn't show in the episode is she was in that bathtub, Joe, for so long, and he was sitting there, and she was so sincere, like, "I am so sorry, my intent was never to hurt you, to talk about your goddaughter, like, no." And he was like, "Okay." And she's like, "I just want you to know I'm sorry." And then he kept going. And he kept going. And it was like he had to keep stabbing her with this information to knock her down. And it came off very condescending. And I think for a lot of women, it was triggering because, you know, then it lasted for days. And then he was mansplaining her personality and her feelings as if she didn't know herself. And then, "Don't you think you want to be a nice person?" It's like, bitch, how do you know I'm not a nice person? You know me in this game, and how I've acted is very nice. And he brought up the zing, like the cold zing. And then Taylor was like, "Listen, I wish they would have put this in the episode." I don't think they did. She was like, I've been judged my whole life. You know, because he's like, "Well, you know, you get the cold label." She's like, "Yeah, I just play into it." It's kind of those things like that we're insecure about. We do as comics, Xchel. Like, if we know someone teases us about something or says something, we're self-deprecating. We go, yeah, I'm a bitch. Yeah, I'm this. But you know yourself at your core. And she says, "Once I open my mouth and have conversations with people, then they know me and I win them over. So I'm not worried about it," because she's that secure and smart and self-aware. And Monty's not. So you have a bunch of not self-aware people trying to tell her who she is, especially this guy who don't even know himself at all, trying to tell her. So it was a whole mess. It was very rude. And so they did not put that in the episode. So I think Monty got off so lucky. No, yeah, he said he doesn't mansplain though, Xchel. That's what Celia, you're right.
Well, Celia, to be fair, it's not like, I don't think boys grow up with like, "Hey, you're explaining that to," like, the term mansplaining isn't really something.
It's relatively new.
It's new, and it's not something we're made aware of, you know. And I think that the word mansplain maybe isn't the correct word, because it's so new. Maybe it's just like you're making me feel dumb. I don't know what word you would use. But I think that, yeah, I think Renee Reese said something interesting earlier. He was discussing marriage with her, though. I think he liked her. You know, when you're diddling somebody and they bring up marriage and kids and stuff, we're all guilty as men to be like, yeah, I totally want to do that. And then be like, so you want to diddle now? And then like after you're done,
You did that to people? You said...
I mean, my very first girlfriend, and we were like, yeah, marriage would be great, you know, kids and stuff.
And you had no intention?
No, I don't think I did. I mean, I was 20. Like, I didn't know what I wanted with life.
Well, yeah, when you're 20, we all make mistakes in relationships.
I mean, that's something that I think everyone talks about in their relationships early on. I think when you're like younger, I think as you get older, like if you're 28 and you're like, this bitch talking about marriage and it's been like 2 weeks, I'd be like, yeah, I gotta go. But like, I think back then, the 19, you know, you're like, yeah, I would think about it, but you know, I've never really seriously thought about it. So I think ultimately with Monty, it was a hookup. I don't think that he was looking for anything long-term because it's Monty. He's basically like fitness at his fitness peak, like, and he's on a TV show. Like, why would he want to end up with one person after the show when, you know, he probably feels like he's gonna win $750,000
because he thinks, because that's what,
and everybody's gonna want to get on his disco.
Yeah,
suit, you know,
that all this random vagina, where he'll never get someone as good as Taylor, never in his whole damn life with that attitude.
No, but I mean, the essence, it's not about. I think from a guy perspective and like, you know, the culture of is like, it's not about ending up with like, it's about obtaining like, oh, I could have if I wanted to, but yeah, I got that. That's no big deal. Like, does that make sense? Like I was with her and then you move on kind of thing. Does that make sense? Like, I think that that's what our society teaches men, like, right? Because we slut shame you if you sleep around, but if guys sleep around, we're like, yeah. Right? So I think like that's the idea of like, oh, it's Monty, how dumb of him. Like he could have ended up with her. Monty don't want to end up with her. Monty already got her. You know, like Monty's like, no.
That's his mentality.
Yeah.
He thinks that that's something, and he'll learn as he gets older and lonelier in life that that's not actually something.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I agree with that. So, but yeah, he's
the people are agreeing that they think that's how Monty saw it from his how he saw that situation from his own perspective, because he
Stephanie
is not.
Says he won't be getting over her though, and I don't think that it's so much of the I'm getting over her because, you know, she's Taylor. I think it's because she beat him and won America's favorite player and
There
almost
was
won
this
$1 million. So
moment, Xchel.
He'll be more mad about that.
Yes.
I could have ended marriage.
He was beat by a woman he thought he could beat. And he was also not even in the top 3 of America's favorite house guests. And I saw him like, oh, okay, they're going to say my name when he was standing there. I could just see it in his face. Similar to you were saying, you know, when people think they're going to win something. And I was like, ooh, and then he didn't even get in the top 3. But there was this moment where when the live, on the live finale, where they're both sitting on the 2 chairs and he thinks they've already gone to commercial break and she's holding his hand. And it's at this moment, I think it's after her speech, that he pushes her hand away and makes some kind of comment like, you got it, or something. People were reading his lips. And you could tell as a woman that kind of look on her face is something that a lot of women, I think, have felt, because, you know, when you are competing maybe with men, or you're up for something with a man, or you get something and a man next to you isn't getting it, or man you care about or something, it's almost like she now feels bad and is being punished because this guy can't suck it up, that this is a game and he's about to lose. Instead, he's going to get mad at her. And so sometimes women have to dull their shine or their successes to placate insecure men that think it should have went one way or another, or you're just getting this because you're a woman, or things like that. But I saw this look on her face that was all too familiar to me in my life where there's been times where I'm like, I should be enjoying this win right now, or I should be enjoying this. I remember when I first started stand-up comedy, for example, and I barely knew you. You had a girlfriend, I had this boyfriend at the time. And I was so excited that I finally got over my fear to do comedy. And me and Charles, we met, if you guys don't know, in a stand-up comedy workshop in Arizona in 2009. And I had this boyfriend and he had a girlfriend. And I was so excited that I was doing this thing I had always wanted to do. And my boyfriend at the time, we went after our big showcase with all the other new comedians from the workshop, we went to like a bar to celebrate. And my boyfriend made it completely about him. It was like me having that kind of power on stage really intimidated him. And it was, oh, I think all these guys want to hook up with you, or who's that guy? And it was because he ultimately was cheating on me. But I just felt so like in that moment, very defeated and depleted, because it should have been a shining moment where I was really celebrating. And instead I had him going, we need to go, we need to leave now from the bar. And all I wanted to do was like celebrate. And there was one time in particular where you were there. And I remember you were there with a girlfriend and some friends, and we were on the same showcase. And you guys were having a great time and celebrating. We left you with that weird lady. Remember that weird lady that was in our class?
Yeah, everyone ditched me to hang out with the person having psychosis. I'll always remember that.
Sorry about that. There's some interesting people in comedy. But
Well, what
I
happens
remember
is everyone's like, oh, she's crazy. And then one by one, everyone leaves until
she
you're
was
the
talking
last
about
person
some
there.
pretty
Of course she
scary
was,
stuff.
but no one leaves all at the same time, because then that person knows that they're crazy and they might stab everybody. Everyone has to leave one at a time, but sadly, there's always just one person that's like,
Well, you were there
all
with
right, you gotta go.
you had Jace, Lilia. I think you had Mike Farson. You had your girlfriend at the time,
That's what I was left
Brian
with.
Kahatsu.
Her name was Sky Blue
Her
too.
name,
Sky
yeah.
Blue.
I hope she's
Like,
okay. I hope
she's
she's
probably not. So
well, don't break it down. Well, anyways, my point.
I've seen homeless people at the hospital. It's like really sad.
Oh,
She was
yeah.
probably like not in a good place, and I hope she figured it out and
But
stuff.
she was in the workshop. So,
But she was
anyways,
trying to make friends because nobody in her life would actually really talk to her. Like that's
and
the
we
thing.
did.
But no, we didn't. We all like there
I talked to her.
in every group. Yeah, but you didn't hang out with her. You weren't like her friend or anything.
I'm
Of
not going
course,
to
you
go
were
to
nice
her
to
house. I don't want to, like, I don't know her.
Nobody would go to her house. You'll be killed. Like that's the thing. It's like in every group, specifically like classes, there's always the person that gets along with everybody. There's always the weird person. Like there's the smelly kid. Like there's all these types of people, right? And like in groups specifically, like sometimes people make choices that ostracize themselves from those groups. And I think that with her, like it was really like, oh, this is like dangerous for people, And I think like with stand-up comedy specifically, a teacher is like, yeah, I'll take anybody's money. I'll teach you comedy, whatever. Like, it's not like we're screening for like, like, hey.
Yeah, they took advantage of her knowing like that she was, okay, we're heading down a different track of this conversation. But ultimately, I remember leaving, my boyfriend at the time making me leave, making me feel bad, like I did something wrong simply by performing comedy and talking to my classmates, which just happened to mostly be guys because it's a male dominated activity, profession. And we like drove home in silence, and he just never was excited for me to do that stuff. And I watched you and your friends and your girlfriend, you guys were having a great time and laughing. And I was like, I wish that was, so the irony now that, then
But
I was like, I'm
after
scooping him up.
This was after he cheated on you, right?
Well, this is before I had proof. This is
I
when
thought
I
you
had
had proof
speculation.
already.
No.
So the
The
summer
emails?
he left that summer to go.
Yes.
to
And then he
Europe
came back at the end. And
by
when he
himself, not with you.
not with me. Yeah, he
You're
left.
still
He said,
together. He came back.
if you want to go to Europe, because his mom was like, why aren't you taking Joleen? We'd been together for like 7 years. And he said, then Joleen should save up her own money if she wants to go to Europe. Like,
Okay, so you didn't break up after that.
no, I started stand up.
You started. So
I just
you
all
found
summer
the letters or the emails while you were doing stand up. I thought you did. You
When
found
he
that
came-
stuff, and then you went to you found that stuff, and then you had a bad time, and then you went to comedy class. I thought that's how it went.
No, I went to somewhere else first. Remember? I had to.
I know that. I'm just asking, like, what are the events? Because I didn't think that I thought the comedy was in response to that sad time in your life of like, well, I gotta do something that makes me happy. And you're like, I'll take a comedy class.
Yes, there was definitely, it was a dysfunctional relationship, but I didn't find, I started stand up in June of 2019 or no, 2009, 2019, 2009. God, time goes by so fast. And it was like June 12th, I think was my first show at the Tempe Improv. And then he left, I think the next day to go to Europe, and Nana was there. And then he came back, I think in August. And that's when you did your first stand-up showcase.
August, yep.
And then he came, and by that time I had been going to, do shows and stuff. And so I had gotten better, and he had seen that I made friends and that I had, power on stage, and he didn't like that. So then after that, my friends Shelly and Chris came to visit. And after they left is when he left his computer open, and he was headed to ASU to go to school. And he called me from the bus stop and was like, hey.
When I knew that stuff happened. See, I thought it was before the comedy classes.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he cheated on me before. There were rumblings. He had some girlfriends where he just had to pass out at their house, but we're getting like really far into this. But then that was when he was like, hey, I'm at the bus stop, because he was taking like the bus to ASU, and he's like, I left my computer open. Can you close it down? And I was like, oh, you left it? He locked everything up all the time. And I was like, oh, you left your computer open? He was like, yeah, don't look at it.
Like, that tells me he wanted you to find it. So what else would
he ran up the stairs and I locked the chain so I could read the emails, because I said, oh, you have an email here. Because I'm sorry, I called him and I was like, you left your computer open. And I was like, you have an email here from that Valerie girl from community college that he met when he went to community college first, the hot one. And that I told you about. And I was like, I'm going to read it. And he was like, no, Joleen. And I could hear him on the cell phone running up the stairs. And I locked the chain lock, because I was like, Joleen, you have to look. You have to free yourself of this mess. And so I looked and I saw some stuff that was real gross.
See, I didn't know that was during when classes happened. I thought it was after.
And then I did a whole set, and I made a whole set about it. So comedy is therapy. But anyways, back to the original point is that look on Taylor's face on finale night was just too familiar. And I think probably there's lots of other women. She was very hot. The one he cheated on me with, she was very attractive. So that didn't help. It doesn't help. You always want to be cheated on with someone less attractive. So you can just go, well, maybe they're just not ready for all this jelly, all this beauty. But so that look on her face was just something that it hurt my heart, because I remember being her age exactly and having that same look when I was out there, taking my power and doing the things I'd always wanted to do. And you have a man next to you who's supposed to at least like you a little bit, trying to hold you back and push you away because it's outdulling their shine. So did they diddle? Oh, they diddled. They diddled in places I wasn't willing to diddle.
Butt diddling.
They butt diddled.
Butt diddle, 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 butt diddle. So I think this is interesting to me. And, I think as a casual,
we have you over an hour. This is so great. Shall I know you're falling
done. I don't want to do this anymore. But
you have to. But
I don't. I hate talking about people who manipulate to win money. That's just like so America. Anyway.
Okay, but
do you feel like there's people out there, like sometimes I read the Big Brother Reddit page and like there'll be whole conversations, and it's really cool because you have feeders and you have people who are casuals and you have people who are haters and you have people who are likers, whatever. They feel like the Leftover Alliance was made to protect Taylor in some way. And so do you agree with that? Because from my perspective, the casual thing was like, she was brought in because she was a number. Like, we need to have numbers because the other side of the house is really strong.
Yes. I think they had their Braveheart moment where they were like, Taylor, we want the Taylor. You will never take Taylor's freedom. We want, Kyle. I don't even know if they showed this on an episode. When the Leftovers were forming, originally it was the guys. So the guys formed the, what was it called? The boys? No, what was the boys one called? Put in the chat. I forget already.
Pooch pound.
not oh yeah, the pound. So the pound is formed first, and then in that they were like, oh, we need like a bigger, this is classic, a Big Brother. You have like a small core you're really loyal to, but then you do this bigger one for numbers. But they pretended, Kyle was like standing up and he gave the speech, and I thought, well, maybe I'm wrong about this guy. Maybe he's not an insurrectionist. Maybe he does really. Man, Joleen, how dare you prejudge like that? And he's standing up and he was like, Taylor, I remember that girl that I saw walk in, and you were so powerful, and I don't want to dim your shine. And I was like, dang, Kyle, that is amazing. And this is when he was fighting, not wanting to be in the showmance with Alyssa. And I was like, I can get down with this. I did not expect this from, the Kyle that was holding like a semi, or what are those things called? It's like a big gun, but
a wiener.
A wiener.
A semi-wiener.
A semi-wiener, a semi-automatic wiener in a picture.
A semi-erection.
And so I was like, this is teaching me something, maybe, because normally I'm pretty good at reading the people on the show. That's one thing I'm good at in life, is knowing, bullshitters and stuff. But I thought, I'm going to give myself, because I wanted a win for Taylor. And so he gave his little speech and stuff, but I think it was always about numbers. I don't think it ever had anything to do with really protecting her.
Yeah,
I think that was just
I don't think so either. I think it was all numbers. And I think they're like, we need to have more numbers than Amira, or else Amira's going to run the game.
Yeah.
And
they were more scared of another woman.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. So
yeah. It's so interesting, Xchel. Okay, so
someone wrote doo-doo diddled, and I like that. None of your business. Doo-doo diddled.
So let's get into some fun before we end it here. Okay.
More?
Baby
what?
kitty.
It's been an hour and a half.
I know, but you love me, and
I love you, but this doesn't mean I don't love you if I want to stop. This is so I'm casual.
But it was good though. Then when Taylor wins and her speech, Xchel, what did you think of her speech? It was magnificent.
I loved her speech. I thought it was great, but at the same time, if the jury already settled on who are they going to vote for, was there a reason for the speech?
Yes, because we needed it. She needed it. The world needed to hear it. I think forever it'll change the way possibly that Big Brother is played, and this old, way of playing. You got to, because that's what I always said. The first thing you do when you get in that house, if you're a house guest, get rid of the people with 6-packs, men, women. If they got a 6-pack, they're out of here. Okay. You can have a 4-pack, you can have a 2-pack, you can have a 6-pack of beer gut, but you can't have a 6-pack of abs, because the abs, look at the history of wins, you will find a lot of abs. Get rid of these athletic threats, get rid of the big targets first, and then, play some ball. And I think going against just this typical, you got some game wins, you got some whatever. I think Big Brother needs to incorporate a little bit of the Survivor. The fact that Survivor, sorry, I'm getting so passionate, but I just am. The fact that Survivor is all about the stories of people, yet we see them for such a short amount of time, and half of them we don't even get to know like we do Big Brother. We have feeds, we get to know these people, we hear their stories, we hear them cry, we see them at their worst, we see them 24 hours a day, and none of it is based on their story. This is a social game. This isn't like the freaking challenge. Well, challenge is a little social too, but this is specifically said to be a social game about navigating and putting 16 strangers together in a house to find out what happens when people stop being polite and start being real, But that's why I think Survivor rules need to kind of come into play. Outwit, outlast, outplay. Did you outwit? Yes, Taylor had to outwit a lot of these men. Taylor had to pivot what she thought she was going to go in the game and do something completely different. She had to always be on guard with her wittiness to be able to be like, okay, where's this guy going next? Okay, he's super sensitive with his ego. He's gaslighting me. He's doing this, and somehow stay, sane with it. Put on the block 6 times or so, targeted from the first hour of play. That's some outlast shit if I've ever seen it. And outplay, she won just enough competitions to get her to be able to have a case for competitions, because it wasn't like Monty with if she was up against Michael, it might be a little different story, but Monty didn't who cares? Once they got rid of Michael, it was easy for Monty. At this point, Monty should have been winning competitions for forever. What are you working out all that for if you can't win, the wiener competition? Why you even got muscles? I don't know.
No, happy people don't win the wiener
or anything.
Competitions like that are always towards McRae and Turner's. Skinny people with
the wall.
Yeah.
Well, Jackson Mickey, didn't he win? I forget.
I don't
But,
know. But if you have big muscles, you have more weight, you're not going to win something like that.
But the thing is, like, even that last competition, that last veto that got Michael out, had Michael's pants not been broken, he would have beat Monty. He would have won again. He had a wardrobe malfunction. So Monty got really lucky in that respect. I'm not taking his wins away. He did win stuff for sure. But I think Monty had it. That game is designed for Monty's. It's designed for like strong men, So I don't know. I feel like Taylor, the way she was able to play and survive and outlast and be there in the end and navigate through all these social challenges was far more impressive to me if I was a jury member. Okay. Does that make sense?
It just sucks that it was already decided before she.
I was so mad at that.
But I just think as like you're telling people this is a game show and like the jury's gonna pick at the night of, it's gonna be awesome. But it's like they already talked. She could have went up there and did fart noises and they would have voted for her.
Not necessarily. Lots of people changed their vote. That's just what we've heard. We haven't heard everyone confirm that. That's just what Joseph said, I think, to Turner.
I think it just would have been more powerful. She was like, and I'd be like, that.
No, we needed it as Big Brother fans after all the seasons we've sat through with this bullshit. It was amazing.
It's representative of what our culture is now. It's just like, I'm not a victim. I am the victor. That's the thing. It's just like, it wasn't about the game. It was about life and how she could survive life. And that is what life's about. Yes, I get
Big Brother's about life.
No, but it was a beautiful speech. I'm not taking that away from her. I'm glad Taylor won. It made like such great television. People are on the fence about it. They're talking about it, both sides. She shouldn't have won. She should won. Like, this is great television. Love it. At the same time, though, it's like, it's, I don't know. I can't put words to it. It's like, I want it to be like a cool show where what they say is real. But again, I'm being manipulated. Because
you're being manipulated all season because in the scripted episodes, the DRs are scripted.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't like the show. I don't like it. I think it's.
Is this the end of Casual Corner? Because I thought you'd at least like.
No, like I totally am willing to talk about this, but I do not like Big Brother. I do not think it's a good show. It's about people like tearing each other apart in order to move forward. And yeah,
not everyone. Taylor didn't tear one person apart, and she won $800,000. She's the biggest winner in the history, and she did it with empathy. She did it with strength. She did it with perseverance. It's a beautiful story.
She was a witness to people tearing each other apart. How do you think about that? Like,
she was the victim of it.
It's all like, hey, who's the shittiest person? Like, that's shittiest people. Like, that's how I look at it from my perspective. It's like, it's lies, it's manipulation. It's like, trying to convince people like, hey, it's like what you said. It's like Julie, when you were talking about Julie in the sense of like, oh man, she's like so up above and she's like, be nice to each other. But she loves this shit too. She loves when people manipulate each other. Like, this is so like when you're at the office and like you have girls talking drama about like what other people have done. And like, to me, it's so boring. Like,
why do they just have to be girls talking drama?
It could be boys too. It doesn't matter. Like, I walk away from that and that makes me like feel better because it's like, why does that even bother you that one person did this one thing? Like, get over it. Like, we're all just trying to bring money to our home so like we can live a nice life and stuff. Like that, I don't like that aspect of life. I'm not.
No, I know you don't. Xchel can't. I had him watching The Housewives. That's why I created Married to Bravo when it was a podcast. It was originally me and Xchel, and Xchel despised every second of The Housewives because he's like, these women are disgusting.
It's so gross. You're talking about Jen Shah, who who paid a company so that they lied to old people so that she could get rich. And people are watching the show just so she could see how she reacts. You're talking about Erica Wiener Johnson. I don't fucking know her
Erica
name.
Jane, like, Erica Girardi.
Whatever. I don't give a fuck. She could be Erica Shitstain for all I care. No, she's a piece of shit. Like, she understands where her money's coming from. She does not giving it back. She don't care. Like, there are people out there that are fucking need this money because they cannot physically make money. They are either in a wheelchair. There's something wrong with them where they cannot be a part of the real world.
She defrauded victims they defrauded victims. Yeah.
Not only that, you have Teresa. This whole like Bravo Real Housewives is built on shitty people. Like the only good thing that reality TV has taught me is how to make small talk with people. It is such a good teaching tool for that. You go, you see something happen, and then you see them talk about it, even though they've all witnessed it, and they ask like small questions. What do you think she felt? What do you think they felt? It's a great teaching tool. Like I could talk to somebody for like 12 hours at work if you want to talk like about small shit all the time. Like I'm really good at that now, and I've learned that from watching really shitty people lie to each other. So like it's so. I feel
like I taught you a little bit about social.
You've taught me that other people notice me doing shitty things, like pulling out my phone if they're talking about stuff. Like that's something I used to do. People would chat, but they would talk shit about other people. So I was like, this is fucking boring. Like I would rather play a game on my phone than listen to you trash talk somebody that you have to fake nice with. Like that is what I don't. I honestly, that's what I hate about life. Like. I know I'm funny as a comedian. I know that, but I'm not thirsty. And that's like what really bothered me about like being in a bigger city, because it was like, we can be funny together, guy, but it's like, oh no, you just want to fucking do whatever the fuck you want because you think it's going to get you into the fucking audition room.
Oh, you're talking about LA Hollywood people. Yeah, they're the worst.
All over, like there are such thirsty people out there, and like I hate it. And like when I see Real Housewives, I just see thirsty people. Like Countess, like she thinks she's better than everybody, and it's constantly reinforced that what the fucking Ramona, like she's an ugly piece of trash.
She's a racist.
She's totally racist. Like the way she talks. You're gonna love watching the show with me, Xchel. It's great. It's Real Housewives.
Well, I didn't know it was going to be that racist.
The episode I see is Ramona talking down to the person helping her with her groceries who's Mexican. Like I fucking want to watch this shit. Like
I know. I get it.
So frustrating to me. It's so frustrating.
Well, Renee likes Erica Wiener shit stain, and also Xchel no longer deserves a piece.
Someone says Xchel sleeps on the couch tonight.
Xchel, no chance you're getting an Xbox. Renee says, I hate that he's right. Whoa, Xchel is passionate about how shitty. I made Xchel watch The Housewives for so many seasons. We would get like in arguments, like when we were live, because I'd be like, Xchel, you have to.
You would be mad at me.
You like this show, and Xhel's like, I hate this show.
I hate it.
Xchel, I mean, that's really, I think, yeah, I can watch the bullshit. I can watch the stuff and play the game. Xchel doesn't even want to play the game in life.
And I'm as hypocritical because I'll watch sports, and Joleen was like, isn't that guy who beat his wife? And I'm like, they're not doing that right now. And no one's talking about that. They're just trying to get the ball to another place on the field.
Horrible foosball. You are a hypocrite. I hate football. Let me go off now.
It's entertainment. It's entertainment. I get that. But the thing is, like, to me, I can see people doing something athletic, and I don't think about their personal life, where when I'm watching reality TV, they have to share like their part of life. And it's just not always like a good representation. Not only that, these motherfuckers are so rich, they can hire a PR company to be like, what is I doing wrong in this season so I can be good on the next season? And when I speak to that, I speak to who's the one that's like Teresa's friend now that's married to the plastic surgeon. When in the beginning, like the first season he was there, like they were like, that guy's a recluse. He always
Jennifer Aiden.
And then like the next season, he was like, Dr. Aiden was like, let's have a family dinner in the middle of our hallway. And here's a big piece of jewelry. Like, bro.
And then you know what we found out the next season?
What?
That he had cheated years ago and it came out.
So it's so manipulative. Like we all do it. Like Jolene's like, I won't watch 90 Day. Big Ed and Angela are on there. And I'm like,
I don't watch when they're on.
What about Jen Shaw? She just ripped off old people who are not going to get that money back.
She's going to jail though. If Big Ed were on his way to jail, I'd watch the season before he goes to jail.
The reason she's going to jail, she's getting money from being on the show, and she's probably getting a bigger deal because she's like, well, well, I don't want to do the show now. I'm so embarrassed. And they're like, here's $1 million. Like, okay, well, I'll be fine once I get out of jail. But the poor people that she took from, they're all fucking starving and they don't have money for their medical care.
I mean,
Like,
she did take advantage of elderly people and stuff.
I'm so like, I've seen old people treated bad. I know I've seen it firsthand. Fuck that person. She's a piece of shit and she needs to be off television like yesterday. And like, if we continue to support that in any way, like we're all pieces of shit. That's
so I can't watch Salt Lake City this season?
No, you're going to watch it with your mom and you're going to make fun of it. That's you, but do not bring me into this because
I'm not, believe me, after tonight, you're on a permanent hiatus. You're getting fired.
I'm burned out. I told you, like, I just like.
He's getting off like 10 days straight of almost nonstop, 12-hour day off, 12 hour. So of working at the hospital. So Xchel has seen real people suffering, and then you watch this shit, and now you're going off. Steven says Xchel can just play I love the comments. We have to read. You guys are so funny. You can just play Candy Crush. Xchel needs to hire, or no, BB needs to hire Xchel to be part of the creative team. Reality TV really ain't for Xchel. That's okay. Xchel, no chance on getting an Xbox. Oh, we already did that one. Oh my God. Let's see. JS said a PS2 for Xchel. Oh my God. What about Kenya Moore? Kenya Moore hair.
I don't know enough about her. Like, I liked the Real Housewives of Atlanta, but that was when Nene was on it. And I think that's because she was able to be truthful with herself, but also like take people down who really thought higher of themselves. So like,
yeah, Bob Bryant said he had friends that said, you're smart. Why do you watch these shows?
It's their entertainment. It's like, do you like reading a good book? Yeah. Well, like I like watching a season of a show. It's like reading one book. It's like, I get my beginning, I get my middle, I get my end, I get my drama. I'm like, whoa. And I talk to other people who watch it. It's like, that's what entertainment is. It's like, we all like, that's why I like the Vikings. Like, they lose, but we all commiserate and we're all like friendlier people because of it. Like, I was like, oh man, they're so shitty. And then like you hear like fan line and they're like, oh man, this team sucks. Launch them to the sun. And you're like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, and you could talk about it to anybody. So it's all like commiserating.
Yeah. She's getting Shaw rested because she used to say she was Shaw amazing. And now she's getting Shaw rested. Athletes are gross. They get free passes. They really do. They really do.
But I think athletes are
gets busy after an hour.
Are a problem. They are a problem, but I think the owners are the bigger problem. I mean, the Suns just sold the team because the owner has been racist for the last like 20 years, and like they finally ripped the team away from him. Like, this is like, the owners are like, anything that's money. Like, if you have money, you can break any law you want as long as you have the money. It's stupid.
Yep, that's America. Amy says Xchel gets pissy after an hour. Renee says Xchel can go back to Facebook.
I gotta make my mean memes.
Beth says Xchel has a kind heart. Marsha's saying soapbox on fire tonight. Xchel canceled.
I'm totally
I like
canceled.
Xchel giving it to us straight. This is the thing. Like, Xchel and I are we're similar, but we're very different. Like, in stuff that we enjoy. What do we enjoy? What do we both enjoy? What is something that we both enjoy? National parks a lot.
Eating. We both love to eat.
We love to eat late at night and bad food.
Oh yeah, Cane's at 2 a.m. That can't go bad. And you're like, every time I eat fast food, I start sweating, and while I'm sleeping, and I'm all like, let's go get some fast food.
Yeah. Every time I eat fast food, like after 8 p.m. now, I wake up sweating at night. Marbu says unplug his Wi-Fi. Stephanie says, oh, Xchel, we're canceling casual corner. We have to think about your mental health. No, there are other stuff we like. I'm trying to we both like. I like water bottles.
Do you say something you like that you think I like? And I'll say yes or no.
Okay.
Just one thing at a time, and then I'll go.
National parks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, going to concerts.
Oh, we do. Oh, the last concert we went to, last two, was Ani DeFranco and what was the other one?
It was Idols. And to be fair, when you went, you were like, I don't know. I'm having fun going with you, but I don't know. And then after like the first song, you're like, let's go buy t-shirts. This is amazing.
I love the Idols. If you guys don't know about Idols band and you like a band that's got like some like talks about mental health, slut shaming, progressive politics. They're for you. If not, don't listen to them. Same with Ian DeFranco. Janice says rants with Xchel should be regular. Okay, so it's my turn. We both like Canes.
That's food.
Okay.
It's just under food.
We both like Tilly.
Yeah, of course. She's our baby.
Okay, we're talking about hobbies. Oh, I'm trying to think about a TV show we both really liked. No,
South Park.
We both love South Park. I was gonna say Breaking Bad, but you couldn't watch it because it gave you anxiety.
That's so sad. It's just like a guy trying to save his life, but it just gets worse every episode.
But it was so good, Walter White. Oh my god,
It's
the
like
Idols
watching a scary
band.
movie. I had enough anxiety and scariness in my life. I don't need more. And you're like, this is great. I love hugging you, and I'm just like holding on to the edge of the couch, and I'm like digging in because I'm so anxious watching people get murdered.
Amanda, I put it on up here. It's called Idols. So Google Idols. You'll love Idols. You knocked me out with your Elaine impression during the Depp trial. Was psyched to learn you do. BB, what's next? I don't do Real Housewives. Anything else? Sorry, off topic. Yes. So I'm going to do some Survivor. Thank you for the super chat, that wife of his. But I think I'm just going to do edited Survivor. I don't know if I'm going to do Survivor Lives. Put it in the chat if you want me to, because we did have the second episode that aired last night, and I am caught up. But I was thinking about doing, if you put in the live or in the chat, I should say, whether you'd prefer me go live to talk about Survivor episodes, or would you rather me do an edited, more shorter, condensed thing? Okay, Xchel. So another activity.
I think you should do the here's my vote. You're really good at the videos where you recap it, but it's like silly recaps.
Mm-hmm.
You did it for Big Brother. You should do that for Survivor. You love editing, so just stick to that.
I do love it. People are really liking this Rants with Xchel.
But it can only last an hour. Thank you.
Yeah, because
Stacey
after
has
that,
my back. I appreciate that. I can't move, guys. I'm chained to the desk.
What about pickleball? Do we both like? We've never played.
No.
Oh, we like night swimming.
Here, night swimming is fun. How about when you're like, let's go ride bicycles, and every time you say that, I'm like, I broke my collarbone on my bicycle once. I don't want to do that.
Right? I want us to get. I used to have a beach cruiser when I lived in Arizona, and I was like, we need to get beach cruisers again, and we ride bikes. And Charles like, no, broke my collar. I like to put my feet up on the dashboard while you're driving, and you say,
for me.
I'm going to break my legs.
I've seen so many pictures of people's legs broken because either the airbag deployed or their legs went through the window and they can no longer walk. I'm like, Joleen, put your feet down.
Mm-hmm. We do like intercourse. Yep. Intercourse.
Diddling.
Diddling. Yep. Yeah. We call it diddling. We said it's time to diddle.
Are we going to diddle?
It's your turn to name a
today we diddle.
It's your turn to we diddle do, I diddle too. It's your turn to name an activity and see if we both like it. It's not scary movies. I love Halloween. Xchel gets scared. But he's going to be, Xchel and I are going to be watching scary movies and covering them. So if you guys
no.
We already promised.
I know. I just said, oh no. It's
we got to do something you like. What would you like to cover with me?
I don't know. When I'm at the hospital, I'm just I don't want to. I
should have scheduled this for tomorrow because this is your first day off in 2 weeks, and
I'm already working basically. This is overtime.
Oh my god!
It's just how I feel. I've worked 5 12s in the 6-day period, and so I'm just I just feel really out of it, and I'm thankful that I don't work for a while now, and that helps me recharge because I don't pick up extra shifts. I'm just no, this is too much. This is too intense. And so I'm thankful for the time, but when my time's off, I don't even change out of my I sleep in my PJs. That's what I wear all day. I go to the gym and then I shower and I come back and shower, put on PJs and I rinse, repeat. I don't want to go shopping.
I don't even get to see you or talk to you.
I don't want to do anything once work's over because I'm just
when you go to work, I don't get to see you because it's
I'm talking about off work. I feel so tired. So.
He's an Aries and I'm an Aquarius, so this shouldn't work, I was told.
I know. Sometimes it feels like that.
Well, we've been together since
That's relationships though. You're always going to run into like little things that turn into big things, and then you talk about it, and you're like, "Well, that was a little thing. I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that."
exactly. Okay, so it's your turn to name something.
Coffee. We both love coffee. Like going to get
Oh,
coffee.
we do like to get coffee.
That's really nice.
We do, but yeah, we're gonna be covered. I think we could start with Hocus Pocus because Hocus Pocus 2 comes out tomorrow.
It does?
Mhm.
Oh, I would see that.
See, that's it. See, oh, look at that.
I
Look
liked
at
the
that.
original. I thought it was good.
We like going for walks together and talking. No? I thought we loved to do that. We used to do that all the time at night.
Yeah, it can be good, but then like, it could be like, why are we talking about this? And you're like, stop talking about that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then we're just like quiet, and you're like, no, it's weird. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Stop talking about what?
Like
no.
if we get off topic, and you're like, I don't want to talk about that. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what to talk about. So then I'm quiet, and you're like, you're not talking to me. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to talk about? You're like, you didn't try. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, well, this is going really well. Aries, the fire sign, Marsha's 1-2. Yeah, Aries are usually they are the boss. They try to be the boss. Aquarius, though, it's hard to boss an Aquarius because we
You
are
can't boss Joleen.
all over the place, and
You can't boss Joleen.
I hear the beat of my own drummer. My mom has said it since the day she was like, Joleen hears the beat of her own drummer. I do things in Joleen way, and I'm sure all my other Aquarians out there feel me on that. And that's just the way it is. And it's untraditional. I like spontaneity.
To be fair, like as an Aries, I think I'm too much in my own way. Like I see a certain path, and that's what I want to see. And what Joleen does that's positive is like, nah, check it out this way. Like, let's do it. And then I'm like, oh, this was a good idea. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'll help you think outside of like being maybe like a rut or like a rigid plan.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's jump off this thing right now. It would be amazing.
Like, it goes back to like, I like control because I never really had that as a kid. Like I was always moving around. I was always told what to do. I never really got a chance to explore like who I was up until I left. So
and I was always in the same house.
Yeah.
Except for one, we moved once. And that was just because a guy tried to kidnap me. But had he not tried, we would have stayed in that house.
Joy.
We both like disagreeing amicably. I mean, we've been to couples therapy.
Look,
we know how to talk to each other.
I respect you, but I disagree with you, but I respect you. I think you're an awesome competitor, and this has nothing to do with you as a person, but I disagree.
T-shirts, we both do love.
You've introduced me to a comfy t-shirt. I cannot stop wearing the shirt because it's comfy. I love this.
I feel like I've introduced you to other things where you were like, I will never. Oh, Birkenstocks. You were
those
like,
are great. I love them. They're great.
They changed his life.
I only wear them when I'm out though. At home, I wear like my Adidas slides.
Aries are the best employees. I am one of the worst employees.
Yeah, you're always like calling sick, and I'm like, no. Why would I?
I mean, if I'm doing what I'm passionate about,
I was at work and I was talking to the monitor tech, and she's like, you know what's great about you? And I was like, what? And she's like, you're just dependable. And then I was like, oh my God, that is my weakness.
You are very dependable.
Oh, I'm dependable, and I never wanted to be.
It's great though. You should want to be like, that's fantastic. Am I dependable? I feel like I'm dependable.
I don't want to marry who I am. Like, how narcissistic would I have to be? Be like, what's another version of me I constantly want to be around?
I don't think, do two Aries work together? We have to get Sarah from Nerdtainment and Mama Bev. They can tell us.
There are people out, like, you ever see people dating and you're like, I'm pretty sure they're related in some way. Like that, I would never want that. I want someone different.
You know what, Michael?
Sometimes you feel like you're in
your own his husband look a little related. I'll be honest with you, because they're like those Minnesota Lutherans. Look them both up, because I'm from Minnesota. I can say this. I know a Lutheran, and there's just these two white guys, tall, lanky, with glasses. They look like they go to the fall festival at the church.
Don't look related.
Yeah, they're Catholic, but
one has curly hair and one has.
They look kind of related.
They don't look related. Their smiles are totally different. Their noses are totally different. This is like your joke. You're like, I think all white people look the same.
No, I really do think that they look a little alike in some of these pictures that I've been seeing.
I don't think so. I think that they both groom themselves well, and they have similar styles, but they do not look similar.
They look a little related.
No, they don't look related at all.
They're super adorable, but it's kind of like, I like the way I look, so I'm going to find someone who kind of is hot like me.
Of course.
Yep, we both
But
like
they do not look really.
sunshine. Oops, Xchel knocked himself out. He was really done. Xchel just like, and I know Michael's actually Catholic because most of us, well, in Minnesota, we're mostly raised Lutherans or Catholics. Now there's a lot more diversity in religion in Minnesota, but growing up, that's all if you were Lutheran, that was diverse.
Sorry, I was clicking on.
You were pissed, huh?
I was so mad. I was like, I'm out of here. No, Renee sent a link and I clicked on it, and
I don't think
and
it's.
then I was like, what is that? So
same-sex couples, but I understand that that's your experience, Katie. But because like Busy and Tay, I don't think they look a thing alike. But there's just something about these two Minnesota guys that they just kind of look a little. Maybe I've just been staring at they're both adorable, but I think a lot of people. I thought Alyssa and Kyle look like brother and sister too. They could pass for brother and sister.
No.
Brittany and her husband. Brittany's husband, Xchel, Steven, looks a lot like Michael and Michael's husband.
Brittany looks like. Wait, so you're saying Brittany and her husband look alike?
They look a little alike too. Yeah.
Brittany Hoops.
There's a science by Terry. What's the science? Share the science. Yes. Oh, yes. The link that Renee just dropped, if you guys are interested, it's an article I wrote because I talked about it on my vlogging channel. If you're not already subscribed to Joleen Vlogs, an article I wrote for Bust magazine about my when the guy tried to kidnap me. So.
Oh, that was you. I was like, what am I looking at? They do not look.
Brittany and her, share the screen, Xchel.
They don't look the same.
Are you sure?
Yeah, but to me, they don't look the same. You guys are crazy.
I don't think Xchel and I look anything alike, and I love that. I love that. Okay. I love that your share comes up as burnout. Burnt
no, that's
out.
My name. I'm burnt out.
I know.
Oh, okay.
I know. It's funny. Thank you, Cheyenne.
Her net worth. Whoa. I like how when you're on TV on a reality show, you're like, what's their net worth? It's like, it's a reality show. It's probably like $10,000 guy. They don't look alike, though. Like, his nose is different.
But look at one. Pull up her Instagram.
Structure is different.
Because that's
I don't find on Instagram.
Those two look alike. Her and Michael don't.
Of course, she was a belly dancer at one point.
You didn't know she was a belly dancer?
No, I could totally see that in her.
That was the lie. She came in instead of hypnotherapy, that she just stuck with the belly dancing.
They don't look alike, though. They look totally different.
Yeah.
Oh, this is really pretty here.
They kind of look alike.
What if people were like, Xchel and Joleen? Yeah, they look alike. They totally
look alike. Thank you. You guys are seeing it too, that they look alike.
They don't look alike, guys.
Brittany's husband and Michael's fiance look alike. Well, that's because you're an artist. You draw people, so you look at. I'm looking at just like I see, just like very surface level. I'm not picking up like the intricacies of the face. I'm like, it just looks similar. You know, that's what I'm seeing. But I caught up to listing on 1.5. I can't believe Xchel is still here on the line. I know.
Like,
I know. We'll end it.
Somebody shoot me.
Xchel.
What?
I love you, and I appreciate
I love
you.
This has nothing to do with our relationship. It's just like, oh my God. What are you going to do on your days off? I don't know. My wife's going to torture me somehow.
And then you know what? We're
Tuesday morning or something.
Yes. I was going to say.
Just get me a coffee. I'll be fine in the store if I have a coffee.
This is so going to happen this weekend because I was like, okay, we got to go to TJ Maxx. We have to check out what Joanne Fabrics has. We have to finish the holiday tree. Well, we'll talk about it.
I said to you, I go, well, how about we do something that doesn't involve consumerism? Like, let's go out in nature. Like, I basically said that. And you're like, well, I don't know.
I do love nature, but right now it's all about decorating. I have a new Instagram account. Like, I have priorities.
But it's just another distraction. How about we don't distract ourselves with consumerism and we just enjoy the company of each other out in a park somewhere with a picnic?
What? I'm just
You weren't
kidding.
even paying attention.
Why don't we not consumerism? Why don't we enjoy our time together and be present in a park somewhere while we're not having
Are you
butt
editing your
stuff?
video right now?
No, I was pulling up. I wanted to tell everyone about and I wanted to get your feedback. So I started, if you follow me on Instagram at Joleen Lunzer, you guys, this is where I can geek out with my love for Halloween. I'm going to have a Christmas account too, where I just post, because how much stuff do I have for Halloween and Christmas decorations? We have a storage.
I was just looking at the stuff in the living room and I was like, this is getting too much for me.
It's beautiful. Are you serial?
It's just that we haven't like cleaned it up in the sense of like,
it's currently
not done.
It's not done.
It's like being created and stuff. And I
yes,
get that, but
it's the mind of an artist.
I get that, but I'm like,
I have genius energy.
I need this place to just be clear. Like I need it.
I'm in my Kanye Gap moment.
He's never being Kanye. He's like, I don't.
Okay, don't get Xchel started on Kanye. Yeah. Okay, so you can follow me, but I need a new screen name because everything's taken. Right now, it's way too long. My name is Scream Queen Halloween Dream. So if someone could think of a better name for me, I wanted to represent spooky season, Halloween. That's what it's all about. But follow me at Scream.
That's what your name should be. Spooky season, Halloween is the time to be 25.
That's too long.
I know. That's
Queen Halloween Dream. Wait, let me just show you so that you know, and then we'll wrap it up because Xchel's gonna kill me here.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm burnt out.
But I love you so much, and I appreciate your hard work and how you work.
The love between us, just because
you help people, and you're tired. You're gonna get all the rest, and I'll be,
I don't know. I'm gonna be thinking about what I said on the internet later tonight, and be like, I shouldn't have ranted. I should have just.
Do I have to delete this?
You got to dirty delete it before.
So I got to dirty delete this account before people find out that you hate
the whole account. The whole account,
show?
Please.
Oh no, it's only okay. I have to pull it.
We're meeting Jen Shaw next week, and I don't want her to know what I said. And Erica Shitstain.
Well, that's why like a lot of people go to the after parties and do that. And maybe one day I'll do this, or like, I don't want to meet a lot of these people because first of all, I don't enjoy a lot of the people on the shows, but also I just don't, I just don't want to. I don't know. So
I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad at all.
Maybe one day I will.
I don't know. So
here's my new Scream. It doesn't even, it's so long. It doesn't even fit in the thing.
Someone said just do Scream Queen, but I think that's a thing.
Yeah. The thing is most names are taken, but
our friend Andy was on that show, right? Scream Queens.
Scream Queens. Yeah. Andy Erickson was on it. Hollow Joleen. That's genius. Oh my God. Do you guys like that? Or will people be like, what does that mean?
Well, I don't know if people will spell it right. That was my problem when I had Instagram. So I was like, find me at Xchel M. And they're like, oh, how do I spell Xchel? And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm never going to be discovered on the internet.
Oh my God. You guys are good at these too. I like Boolene. Oh, that's kind of cute. That is really cute.
Who could spell lean like that, I think it's cute, but I don't think people will spell lean like that.
Just like it fucking sucks.
I know. I just want to leave.
Oh, okay. You can leave.
Really?
I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't want to.
I didn't even know that was an option. I would have
torture you any longer. I mean, I'm not here.
Well, it's like to be fair, we're like, let's look at my Instagram account. We're talking about Big Brother here, guys. Now we're looking at my Instagram account. What should I name my Instagram, guys? Even though this video is titled Big Brother 24 Breakdown with Joleen. Let's talk about Instagram now. Joe, what do you think about Real Housewives? Welcome to Big Brother.
You brought up Real Housewives, I think. I don't remember who brought it up, but I didn't think it was me. But this is how I found skeletons at Target.
No, I never noticed this, but you know what the best part about it is? What do you think?
I bet It's the guy that's on the ground watching, looking up. I bet. Is it? Yeah. I knew it. I know you so well. So while
my
I'm at
God.
Target, Chel's at work. He's on break and he FaceTimes, or you call me and I say,
I call
FaceTime,
you.
you have to show you something. And then you were like, oh my God, did you do that? I said, I didn't do that. But you really thought, I mean, I'm not above this, but I'm too old to do this. And there were families around, but I, of course, had to take a picture. But yeah, they had a guy watching, and then and look at the guy's hand is up, the knees bent, even the way the toes were down. It was so realistic.
To me, it's like the guy was like, I guess I'll lay here, and then he woke up with someone over him getting a beach, and he's like, no.
He was at a party, he passed out. You know, he's at one of Monty's parties, one of Pooch's parties. Nunya says, that's what we love about the show, variety. Yeah, I provide variety. Okay. But so this, and then this is the Halloween tree that's in progress. I added a lot to it, Chel's pizzas. You can drop. I won't hold it
I
against
just
you.
think it's funny because it's like we talked about Big Brother. We're done talking about Big Brother, but you're like on other topics.
Yes, this is what we do. This is what this is. This is the breakdown with Joleen. We break it all down, whether it's my period or my shopping. Somehow we get it back to anything else. Okay?
And then I'm begging you to go to sleep at like 1. I'm like, you have work in the morning, go to bed. And you're like, I gotta do this.
The mind of an ADHD. Like I like lots of stuff. So then I go to Home Goods. I go to a lot of stores by myself and I film. And people look at me strangely, but I try to do it like I'm just walking very closely to these leaves. No big deal.
You're lonely without telling me you're lonely.
Well, we move out to the desert. I have like 2 friends here where we have all the friends back in
keep
LA.
reaching out to you, but you don't want to go. Like that's on you.
I have like possible agoraphobia as well. So we're dealing with some things.
And then you were like, you don't even know what agoraphobia is. And I was like, Joe, I know what it is. Come on.
But isn't this great? And then there's music to it too. But yeah, so there you guys go. This is the new account you have to follow. It's the hottest, bestest thing. We're up to 260 followers.
Are they like 200 of them are your own accounts that you create?
No, I only have like 5 of my own accounts that I created. Okay.
Got it.
So Hocus Pocus on. Do we have Disney Plus, Chel?
No, we got rid of it.
We used to.
We better not have it. That's like $20 a month. I'm trying to get back.
Oh, he's also very budgeted, and I am. Let's spend everything. Ballistic Coffee Boy says, Chel, maybe you are asleep, and this is your nightmare. You wake up for real. And Joleen says, you ready to live stream? LOL.
Whoa, why would you even say that? That's like a Inception nightmare I would hate. I'd be like, no, I already did it.
Thank you, Danny T. I would love to consumerism with you any day. Well, make sure you subscribe to Joleen Vlogs because I just started going live and going shopping with people on live. Do you know that's a new thing? I mean, I don't think what I'm doing is what people are doing.
I hate it. I don't like it.
Okay, well, I was getting really excited about it, but that
I hate it for the right reasons. You think I hate it like because you're shopping? I don't care about that. I just don't want like some creepy dude to like be like, oh, this girl's live, so she's distracted. This just creeps me out.
What?
Because people can watch you and then find out where you are. It's creepy.
Oh, you mean people? You don't like me telling people
like
where I'm at?
Yeah, like, well, you don't even tell them where you're at. Like, they could just be like, "Oh, I think that looks like Michael's," and then they're like, you know, in your conversation, you're like, "I'm just out shopping here in XYZ city," and then they're like, "Oh, I know where that is. I'll just
listen." Good luck. I've had 2 men try to kidnap me in my life. Both have been unsuccessful. So
yeah, well, it just takes 1 to be successful, even though 2 have done it.
They don't want to get into this. Speaking of that, Nana's in the chat, and Nana says, "Chel, I'll be there soon, so she can consume." It's Nana's fault. She is misconsumerism.
I'm not blaming this on Nana. This is not Nana's fault. This is you.
No, I'm just saying, Nana and I love shopping. We love it.
It's okay. I love it.
Decorating.
Go shopping. Go decorate. Keep doing it. I'm not judging you on that.
All right. Well, Emily says you're being a hater, and those are dope. Thank you, Emily. Thank you. Thank you, Emily. He is being a hater. Thank you. Chel, they caught a serial killer that way. Which way? Through 23andMe? The Golden State Killer?
Someone following
live?
girls that were live on Twitch, walking around.
Are you for real? Good God. You know what? I am nothing to. I'm like Wu-Tang Clan. I'm nothing to fuck with. Like,
You
don't
punch the air
even.
randomly when you're like,
I
oh,
do. Because my uncle was a homicide detective. And so now I walk to my car at night and I punch the air and I'm like, there's going to be a fight. If you've got people that look as crazy as possible, women, they are not, they're going to go for someone they think is an easy mark. Okay.
it ain't me. That's what Joleen said.
It ain't me. It ain't me. No, not someone who kills cats. Oh God, this is taking a
Wow,
weird dark
Bob, you
turn.
brought it down. Like having me here against my will was very funny, but when you said kill cats, that was the line that was drawn.
I didn't think it could get any darker than what Xchel has brought to this show.
I thought just keeping me here against my will was dark, but that was darker.
All right. Thank you, Xchel. Have a wonderful night.
Thank
We'll talk to
you.
you in 5 minutes, husband of
5?
mine.
Are you sure you don't want to keep going and just let people like, hey, what should my Instagram be called while we enter the name?
Bye, Xchel. All right. Everyone say bye to Xchel. Oh, he had to leave. That's too bad. That's too bad. That's too bad. I don't even remember if I might have just knocked him out. I might have just knocked him out. Crabby husbands. But we got our casual corner. Are you guys glad you asked for it? I told Xchel, yes. Everyone's asking for a last casual corner. That might be the last casual corner forever. Or maybe he'll come back next season. We'll see. But for those of you wondering what I'll be covering in the future, I'm still going to keep up with this BB24 postseason because I have a lot of fun with it. So I'll have a video coming out that I'm putting together after investigating, collecting data on these house guests outside of the house. I'm also going to be, so I want to do Survivor. Obviously, we're only in the second week of Survivor. So if you guys tune in, I'll be there for Survivor. And we have Housewives with Nana. We have Salt Lake City, Don't Tell Xchel. And we're wrapping up Beverly Hills on Friday nights with Nana. We're going to be having our little scary movie stuff. And I'm always, I think I'm also going to be doing more Big Brother content that is just kind of covering the news in Big Brother. I have a video I'm working on about the best zings of Big Brother. I got a Mike Boogie video coming out. So I am still doing stuff, you guys, and there's always new shows to cover. But I love to get your suggestions, so feel free to put them in the comments after this video posts, because when I see them in the chat, it's much better when I see them actually in the comments. I can just go to the video. I don't have to remember what time stamp it was at. Xchel's still in the green room. Please send help. Well, he's going to be waiting a while. Okay, he's going to be waiting a while for that. So yeah, Nana's the queen. She'll be back Friday. She was on vacation. She's got lots of stories to catch up on. We got Beverly Hills and Salt Lake City, new season. Oh, I have a super fun show coming up. I forgot to, again, Housewives, apologize to those that don't follow Bravo, but I'm going to be covering the Real Housewives of Potomac with my very funny friend and fellow comedian, Shauna Christmas. So if you guys aren't familiar with Shauna Christmas, she has her own channel here on YouTube, and I'll be dropping the links for that. She's hilarious. She loves Housewives. Well, she watches Beverly Hills, Potomac, and I think those are the only 2 franchises she watches. But we will be covering that, I believe, on Sunday nights. That season starts October 6th or 9th. And so we'll be covering that right after. And she is so fantastic. Amazing Race. I just can never get into Amazing Race. I tried my best. And I just can't. Yeah, tomorrow night, me and Nana will be back. Let's see. And then... yay, can't wait for tomorrow night. Woo, woo. Yep. So I didn't cover Potomac last season, so it'll be nice. Me and Busy covered it previously, but I think him and So Debonair cover it, so go support them as well. Nana just woke up. Well, get lots of sleep, Nana, because tomorrow is going to be a fun time. But yeah, we'll probably have some more Joleen Reacts video where I just react to different either funny videos or news, things happening in pop culture, stuff like that. Yes, Danny, I did see that DX and Claire are on this season, and I hope that they win. But I just never got into Amazing Race, and I know people love it. But I tried to watch the season Janelle and Brittany was on, and they're like my favorite with Rachel and Alyssa, and I was like, I'm bored. And there's just something in me, okay, that Yeah, I don't know. I don't watch Housewives, but always watch you and Nana. Yes, and me and Nana will be coming back with another 90-day as soon as they stop with these ones that have Big Ed and Stupid Angela. Okay? No, thank you. No, thank you. Yes, you asked, you received. You can't. Okay, so you can't get into it either. Okay. Yeah. It's just to me, I don't know. Survivor's exciting to me. Big Brother's exciting to me. And then I watch Amazing Race and I'm like, I should like this. They're traveling, they're running, they're fighting sometimes, but I just can't. So yeah, no neck Big Ed. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Me and Nana did a little bit of political stuff, and I've covered political stuff on my channel before. And let's just say some people like it and some people really don't like it. So I'm sure that I'll venture back into that. But I think that was, it's always interesting whenever we do that. But me and Nana we covered the debates, the VP and the presidential debates and some other stuff. And it was really actually fun. I forgot what we called that. Nana's in the chat. If I don't remember, she doesn't remember either. But I think we called it In the News with Nana or something. It was super fun. Thank you, Beth G, for the super chat. I appreciate you so much. That's a very nice super chat, and thank you for saying that. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that. What side of what? Sorry, Edmund. Yeah, it was Dream. You remember? I mean, Dream Sketcher. You've been around. You know, like probably 3 years ago now, when I was in my apartment in West Hollywood talking politics, and it was like I think we were talking about the Democratic. Were we talking about the Democratic debates? I forget. We were talking about Pete Buttigieg and all of them. So, yeah. Couch Potato Queen. Shout out to Couch Potato Queens. Josh and the team. Yes. Fly on. I mean, that was comedy gold. That they flew right to him. Right to Pensy baby. So yeah, we got lots of good content coming up. Just because BB's over doesn't mean this channel's over, you guys. So stay subscribed, share me with your friends. Thank you for all your support this season. I will still be putting out post BB24 content post season. I mean, it's I can cover this until probably Halloween, then I'll be like, go home. Time to go home. But right now it's very interesting because they're all still hanging out. Taylor plans to be in Los Angeles for a couple weeks at least. And there's lots of friendships developing. 2 people might have gotten matching tattoos today. Probably not who you think. And that'll all be in my video coming out later on this evening. But I better leave. I can't believe it's 10 o'clock already. You guys are just so fun. And thank you for a wonderful chat. And Nana and I will see you tomorrow here live for Married to Bravo. And wherever you are in the world, take care of yourself and remember to enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Bye.